Good morning and welcome to our 78th weekly webcast. If this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. If you've been with us before, welcome back. And so the way the call works is it's 3 hours. It always starts at 8 a.m. San Francisco time. It ends at 11 a.m. And after that, I have one-on-one office hours and general office hours for my MBA degree students. If you're interested in learning more about my MBA, good morning and welcome to our 78th about how I can't use this properly. Hold on. Sorry, I have to hit mute there. If you're interested in learning more about our MBA degree program or our online courses, please visit my website, which is harouneducation.com. That's Haroun education.com. And so this is an AMA. You can ask me anything. You can ask me business questions, personal questions, career questions, and the call never ends until I've answered all the questions. And I answer the questions in the order in which I've received them. So if I don't answer your question, or if I don't answer it correctly, then please just put me on the spot because I want to humbly help if I possibly can. Now, I want to talk about one thing before I take questions, and I see there's just a ton of questions here. Thank you. So, I want to talk about your heart today. It doesn't matter sometimes how much you exercise and the food you eat and the quality of your sleep, etc. Sometimes it doesn't matter because, and obviously you should all exercise and consume the right foods and all that stuff and get rest, but sometimes it's genetic if you have a heart that's not perfect. And I'm not a doctor, so please consult with a doctor before even thinking about using what I'm about to show you, this new product from a great company called Haroun. But for me, I eat very healthy. I have fresh pressed juice every day. I eat the proper meals every day, 5 times a day, small meals. But it doesn't matter because I've got very high cholesterol. I mean, eating properly is not the only thing that's going to make your heart work properly or be optimized at least. And what you have to do is you have to talk to your parents, your aunts, your uncles, your grandparents, your cousins, older relatives in general, and find out what diseases they had or illnesses or whatever it might be, because that's something you might catch as well genetically. So for me, it doesn't matter how much I exercise. My cholesterol is high. It doesn't matter what kind of foods I eat. My cholesterol is high. I've tried substituting many things in my diet. I've tried taking red rice yeast caplets as well, which is supposed to lower cholesterol. It doesn't work. And the problem with cholesterol is that what it does, and I'm really going to oversimplify it because I know nothing about medicine, but the problem with cholesterol is what it does is it basically clogs up your veins to the extent that not enough blood can get to your heart, which could be catastrophic, obviously. And a lot of people monitor their heart with just these things, Apple Watches, Samsung watches, etc. And that's not enough because that will just take your heartbeat. And I'll talk about this product here in a second. It's a brand new product. It's awesome. And so what I have to do, and my doctor prescribed this, please talk to a doctor or whatever, is I take a product called simvastatin, 20 milligrams. I take it every night before I go to bed. And then what I do is I get my blood monitored, actually. So I go to a doctor, get blood, urine, all that stuff monitored. And my cholesterol's gone down a lot because of this. And this is a generic product, so it's cheaper than Lipitor and all that stuff. And the biggest side effect, though, from these things is it can hurt, I think, your liver a bit. And I don't drink anyway, so it doesn't matter. Okay, let me put this away. So make sure you talk to your relatives and find out what diseases they had and what you might get as well. For me, it's cholesterol. Okay, so I want to talk about this product here. Now, when you monitor your heart, and again, talk to a doctor first. I keep hedging myself. I sound like a lawyer. I'm not, though. But when you monitor your heart, there are different tables you can look at online. So do a search online for heart table to see if you're male, female, elderly, young, whatever. It'll tell you what your resting heart rate should be. Now, when it comes to your blood pressure, I look at a table as well online, and all of you should as well. And we're all different based on our age, etc. But the magic number for me at my age, I'm 48, and it is that the blood pressure has got to be under 120 and under 80. So I'll show you how this works here. So again, this is made by a great Japanese company called Haroun. I don't get paid by anybody ever to do anything I show here. I just want to humbly help if I can. And you can't use one of these devices properly to take your blood pressure, because as we know, when we go see a doctor, what happens is they put this thing around your wrist and then air pumps into it. And you can buy those cheaper ones too, you can pump air into. And this is not cheap, but I think it's worth it if you travel like crazy, because the cost of this, it's minimal compared to bills later, health bills and stuff. So the way it works is this. You take it and you put it on your wrist, and you have to put it about 1 or 2 fingers back from here. And you're going to see the display quality is pretty bad, but I don't care. I just want to monitor my heart so I don't die. And so what you do is you put it on tight, but not too tight, but tight enough, kind of like when you go to the doctor and they take your blood pressure. Okay, so I'm going to show you how this works. And in the screen, you can tell, I mean, you can't really see very much. You can sort of see the time. It's not that great. But so what you do is you click here, okay? And then what happens is it says, maybe you can hear that. So you hold it over your heart here. And what it's doing now, and you might kind of hear it by the microphone, is it's inflating very, very slowly. I don't know if I'm supposed to talk when I'm doing this. Yeah, so now the airbag is full on my wrist. And they tell you to hold this position as well. You're not supposed to talk though. So it's tightening. It's pretty tight. It's starting to loosen. And in a second, I'll tell you my blood pressure. And this will save you a trip to the doctor. Go to the doctor too, obviously, get checkups. Okay, now I can't feel my hand. It's tight. Just kidding. All right. There we go. Okay, so it's now done. It also alerted my iPhone down there. I see a screen going on. And so it's 109.85. That's not good. So it's supposed to be under 120 and under 80. So 109.85. And so I am monitoring my blood pressure. I'm trying to make it much better now. I've gone through a lot of stress, but in good stress. Like I love doing what I'm doing. In the past couple of months, I launched an MBA degree program, but I understand that I have to be more careful. So anyway, I thought it'd be interesting to show you guys this. It's usually a little bit lower than that, but whatever. So the way you charge it, and this is kind of like the first, remember the first iPod when it came out? It had this weird kind of plug for the earphones, and the charger wasn't that great, and it was big. This thing is pretty bulky. And the way to charge it, and I'm sure they'll fix this, is you just take it here and you put this on the sensor here, and then you just plug it into USB, and it charges. Yeah. Omron, again, it's a great Japanese company. They dominate the blood pressure market. I'm not compensated by anybody to say this stuff, but I think it's a good product. I'm happy I got it. And I think it's a worthwhile investment if you travel a lot and you don't have time to see a doctor, etc. So hopefully I'll do this again in a couple of months, and you'll see my blood pressure will improve a lot. Knock on wood. Thanks. See a doctor first, though, always. Okay, let's go here to the browser. I have to make the text a bit bigger because the older I get, the better I was. Okay. All right, John. Hey, John, how are you? And John is from Rochester, which is in New York State. John is saying, hey, Chris, love Thursdays. Thank you. So do I. Appreciate it. This is fun. I'm going to Chicago in March to see the Chicago Board of Exchange and more with a school group and 2 networking dinners. How do I stand out from the rest of the pack during the trip and dinners? Yeah, that's a great question. That's a great question. So what I recommend doing is, and for those of you not familiar with the CBOE, it's an exchange where they trade commodities. Watch the movie Trading Places if you want a refresher on that. It's a fun movie with Eddie Murphy, who's the best. But what I recommend doing, John, is I recommend reading my networking book, which you can get on my website for free, harounventures.com. And then what I recommend doing is just contacting a couple of people that work at the CBOE that have something in common with you, and send them a LinkedIn message. And make sure your LinkedIn profile is amazing, please. You can take my complete job course on Udemy, which I give a personal lifetime guarantee for. And you got nothing to lose, everything to gain. But I teach how to network much better using that course. But I recommend contacting a couple of people that work at the CBOE, and hopefully people you might have something in common with. Maybe they're from Rochester as well, and you could see that sometimes on LinkedIn as well. And then you send a nice, really short email, saying, "Hi, my name is John. I'm also from Rochester. I'm going to be visiting Chicago and the CBOE with a school trip next week or whatever it is. Please let me know if you have time to meet for a coffee next week when I'm in town. Thanks, John." Keep it simple like that. And you'll find that people want to help you. All you got to do is ask. So everybody's homework today is to go to YouTube and search for 3 words. It's a video that will change your life. And those 3 words are Steve Jobs Ask. So it's a fascinating video about Steve Jobs when he was, I think he was like 15 or something like that. And it's a 1-minute long video, and he contacted Bill Hewlett from Hewlett Packard, and that call changed his life. And Bill Hewlett helped him because Steve Jobs asked. Ask and you'll receive. It's prophetic. It's been true since the beginning of time. And it's the cornerstone of networking. The crux of networking is asking. It's like dating. You'll never get a date unless you ask over and over and over and over and over again. And I'm the worst person ever to give dating advice because my wife is like way out of my league. I feel like I'm a charity case sometimes with her. But anyway, that's what I recommend doing. Yeah. So, one little quick side note, which is interesting. After you watch that video on Steve Jobs, also know that years later, this young guy reached out to Steve Jobs and asked for help. And because that kid asked, Steve Jobs, he wanted to pay that debt of gratitude forward and help this kid out. And that kid's name was Mark Benioff, who is the CEO and founder and a wonderful humanitarian. And he founded a company called Salesforce.com, which is now the largest employer, I should say, in San Francisco. So thanks a lot for that question, and hopefully that was helpful. All right. Rohit in the house from India. Rohit, it's been a while, man. I hope you're doing well. Rohit is saying, good morning. Hope you're doing awesome as always. I am. Thank you. I am. One little thing, though. I've got this monitor, and I'm going to keep it real here. I've got this monitor up here running, and it's got a video that's looping, which is driving me crazy, and it's also going to impact the webcast. Let me just turn this off. Hold on a second. And I turned off the brightness a bit, too. All right, that should be good. Thanks. All right. So Rohit is saying, you explained to us that a lot of successful people in business try their best to be unemotional in business. Like they're not too happy when they win and not too sad when they lose. This philosophy is stoicism, right? What are your thoughts on stoicism? I'm so sorry. I'm so ignorant. I don't know what the word stoicism means. But the crux of that comment I made before is that I really like Dale Carnegie, and he wrote this great book you should all read called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And he said that in business, we have to realize that quite often people are creatures of emotion and less so creatures of logic, especially when it comes to the stock market. As Warren Buffett said, the New York Stock Exchange is the only store in the world where consumers sell stuff when it goes on sale. Think about that. And so a lot of people I've worked for in the hedge fund industry, a lot of them are billionaires. I'm not going to say which ones, but a handful of them I think might have had a borderline Asperger's syndrome. And they're very successful because they don't get too emotional. And when things go well, there's no high-fiving in the office. And when things go poorly, they don't freak out. And so I think that's a great way to live your life by when you're thinking about business and investing in general. Just be extraordinarily unemotional about stocks and about investing in general, and you'll do incredibly well. Pardon me. And if you can, and I did this years ago, this is a little out there, which shouldn't be a surprise coming from me, but years ago, when I used to go home, and I lived then in a place called Burlingame, California, and I was running my hedge fund, and it was stressful. I'd open the door, I'd walk in, and I hear the alarm go beep, 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 for the front door. And then I'd hear pitter, patter, pitter, patter, pitter, patter, pitter, patter. And Matthew, my middle child, he would run up to me and say, Daddy, 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 did you have a good day at work or a bad day? And if I said, it was okay, right? That's the extent of my negativity at home. "Oh, it's okay." He'd go, and then he'd walk away. And if I said, "Oh, I had a great day," then he'd light up like Tweety Bird and say, "Great, Daddy, can we play baseball in the backyard?" I started to meditate, and that it's not fair for my kids, for me to bring any sort of unhappiness home. I want them to have a wonderful childhood and remember that I was a happy dad, so to speak, that instilled confidence in them and stuff. And so what I did was I kind of meditated and I conditioned myself so that before I get home, while I get home, actually, when I walk up the front steps to my door and I touch the doorknob, then that convinces me and conditions me to leave my work outside. It's like I'm going into a box, so to speak, and the rest of the outside world doesn't matter. It's a sacred home, and I get to hang out with my kids and my wonderful wife. And why bring that stress home? So try to do that if you can. Condition yourself to leave work at work if you can, and also when you're investing and in most aspects of business, just remember that don't get too happy when things go well. And I'm not a downer. And I say that because I don't want you to freak out when things don't go as well as you think they are. There's this guy who used to work at Andreessen Horowitz, good guy, general partner there named Scott Weiss, sorry. And I was on the board with him when I worked full-time venture capital. And he coined this phrase, which many of you probably read about in Ben Horowitz's book, The Hard Thing About Hard Thing. And he coined this phrase. He said that every startup has multiple whiffio moments in the first couple of years of them being in existence. And a whiffio moment stands for earmuffs, everybody. Here we go. It stands for we're fucked, it's over. And he said that you got to really be unemotional and see a crisis as an opportunity and just be level-headed. And that's why he's been a very successful investor, entrepreneur, et cetera. I think he was one of the founders or early guys at Hotmail years ago before they sold out to Microsoft. But I think that's important. And like Warren Buffett said, he said you got to be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. If you buy a stock that everybody else owns and everybody loves it, then who's the incremental investor to buy the stock to push it higher? There's not as many. You got to buy when, and I hate to use this, but it's a term they use on Wall Street. You got to buy when there's blood in the streets. Now I've got that song "Peace Frog" by the Doors in my head, and I am dating myself. But you got to buy when everyone's freaking out, and you got to try your best to buy broken stocks, but not broke companies. And when you see your favorite companies that you want to buy on sale, roll up your sleeves, do the work. Build a financial model, and I teach you how to do that in my complete financial analyst course. And back up the truck and buy because everybody else is not. Like Warren Buffett said, the New York Stock Exchange is the only store in the world where consumers sell stuff when they go on sale. All right. And Alpha Wealth Creation is saying, initially, I will teach students offline in my city at my training institute. To gather the students and audience, I'm thinking of doing free webinars. My question is, how do I attract people for the webinars? Yeah. So I really believe that there are a lot of parallels between, and this is going to sound out there, but between business and spiritualism. I'll just say that. And it's the crux of networking in general. Like if you give, you will receive. It's prophetic. It's been true since the beginning of time. Some people call it non-spirituality. Some people just call it karma or karma synchronicity. But you'll find that if you give a lot to people and give with your heart too, it's the absolute best way to network. And I've got a book down here called Give and Take, written by Adam Grant. It's a great read. But the bottom line is that if you give, you will receive longer term. And most of my humble successes in life have come because I've helped other people. Not because I wanted something in return, but because I want to genuinely help. And it happened with my father too. He got a great stock tip years ago in a company called Spectral Diagnostics because he helped out some other doctor that was competing with my dad. My dad's a radiologist, which means he fixes radios. No? Dad humor? Not working for you? Okay. And my dad helped out a competitor, and in return, he was the guy helped him back, whatever. But that's just one of many examples. But it's true. If you help other people, they will help you in the long run. And let me summarize this book in 30 seconds. So the poorest 1% of people in the world, the people with beautiful souls, my heroes, like Mother Teresa, God bless her, the poorest 1% are givers. The middle 98% of people in the world are takers. Most people take. And the top 1% of people in the world by wealth, measured by wealth, which doesn't mean I respect you more, but it is what it is. The top 1% of people in the world by wealth are givers. A lot of times they give with their heart. And so there are a lot of generous entrepreneurs, despite what Hollywood says. Hollywood always makes the rich dude look like a schmuck. I don't know why. It's ridiculous. But anyway, so if you give, and help other people, and network by helping other people as well, eventually what will happen is you will receive in the long run. But you got to do it with this, not with this. You got to do it because you kind of want to help. And if you mentor other people that are younger than you, that are in a similar career that you're in, what you're doing basically is you're kind of reinforcing to yourself, what your core values are or your best business practices are. Because when one teaches, two learn. So when you mentor other people, you're in essence helping yourself as well. It's true. It's true. So I would say when it comes to social media in general, and webinars, which is the crux of your question, I would say just get in the habit of creating content, creating vlogs, or writing articles on LinkedIn, for example, or any other platform that's of interest to you, and do it with the intention of helping other people. And then you'll see that everything will work out for you well because your brand name will be recognized out there because you're a thought leader. And the way to become a thought leader is, and this sounds silly, but just think of yourself as a thought leader. Like Henry Ford said, I think whether or not you think you can do it, you're right. It's like the Rodin sculpture. I think, therefore I am. You got to own your market. You got to write a lot. Be a prolific writer about whatever your passion is, whatever market you're in right now. And give. And YouTube is the only gold rush in history where it costs you nothing to make the product. And it's the only gold rush in history where you have immediate access to billions of potential customers or viewers, so to speak. So start vlogging, start writing, give. And I promise you, you'll receive in the long run. The best way to network is to give from your heart. Okay. All right. Love my coffee. Sometimes I'll go to bed and right before I'm about to fall asleep, I'll tell myself I can't wait to wake up so I can get my coffee in the morning. I just love it. I love it. I don't smoke. I don't drink. This is what I do. This here is a product by a company called Ember. It's not that great. Anyway, but keeps the coffee warm, which I have to do because of I talk a lot, clearly. I do over 20 hours of webcasts and stuff and teaching a week online. So my throat's important, eh? That was my Canadian in me saying, eh. Okay, next up, Rohit is saying, what is the one thing that separates the successful people in business from others? The most important one thing. Yeah, I really think that it's giving. I really think that the most successful people in business, they give with their heart. And as I mentioned before, there's this great book by Adam Grant called Give and Take. And the most successful people in business are givers. You got to give with your heart, and you got to mentor others, because when you mentor others, you're mentoring yourself, because when one teaches, two learn. So just have a big heart in business and in life, obviously, and give. And again, some call it karma, some call it karma synchronicity, but you'll be amazed what happens in the long run. Yeah, you will receive. Next one is, how do you not be tempted solely by money and material things in life? Yeah. It's hard. I really believe that it's important to buy experiences and not things. the problem with Western society, and the Dalai Lama really summed it up beautifully. And you should all read that book by the Dalai Lama called The Art of Happiness. He said the problem is that in Western society, we spend our entire lives chasing money, and we sacrifice our health by chasing money our entire lives. And then at the end of our lives, we sacrifice all of our money in order to maintain our health. And then we look back and we realized we never really lived to begin with. And so I think that a lot of people, myself included, I used to be very insecure. And I cared what people thought of me and stuff, whatever. You just got to tell yourself the following thing, which will cure the insecurity disease. Okay. You got to tell yourself, I don't care. And then fill in the blank. I don't care what people think of my hair, which I've been dyeing since my 20s. And yeah, it does look like a great dye job every now and then. I don't care that I've got these lights here and I put on a little bit too much makeup this morning and it was a slightly different color and I look blotchy everywhere. I just don't care. And if you try for perfection all the times, you'll never release your product. You'll never be successful in life. You got to tell yourself, I don't care. I don't care what people think of my car. I don't care that other people that work in venture capital think I'm crazy because I'm just teaching now. When one teaches, two learn. Oh, and also, those who can't do, teach. And as Woody Allen said, those who can't teach Jim. And I suck at sports too, so you're all SOL, I'm sorry. Something out of luck, yeah. Kidding, sort of. But you have to tell yourself, I don't care. Try it with me, man. Write down, I don't care, and then fill in the blank. Do 10 of them. I don't care what people think of my whatever it is. I don't care what people think of my choice in career. I'm not living my life trying to please others. I don't want to be a lawyer to impress my mom and dad, because I'd be lying half the time, not just to clients, but to myself most of the time, actually. I want to do what I want to do. I want to be me. I want to make my dent in the universe by doing what I'm passionate about. Like Elon Musk, he doesn't give a damn what people think of him. He doesn't care. Sometimes he'll say things that he gets in some hot water with the SEC for, but he doesn't care. He says what's on his mind. And I think a lot of very successful entrepreneurs are like that. They just don't care. And if they did care, they wouldn't be successful, because instead of focusing on their awesome business, then what they would have done in hindsight is focused on trying to impress other people. And I remember when I was younger, pardon me, I remember I worked at Goldman Sachs, and they don't hire the smartest people. They hire people that kind of get along. That's why I got in. I'm not the smartest person. But I remember when I went there, I kind of changed. It was my first important job, whatever. But when I was younger, before I started working, like when I was a kid in school, I remember laughing so hard until it hurt and I fell down. Do you remember those days? And then you start working in big companies and for other people, and you stop being yourself. And I'll never forget the awkward conversations I'd have with Bob Steele, who was the vice chairman of Goldman Sachs at the time, when I was there back between 98 and 2003. Nice guy. But I remember I'd get in the elevator and it was just him and me. And I was like, oh my God, what do I say? Oh no. Anything I say can and will be used. No. Anything I say can and will be used for them deciding if I ever get promoted. And so I'd kind of say, wonderful weather out there today, isn't there? And then after the elevator ride, I would think to myself, gosh, did I sound smart? Did that help my career or hurt it? And you know what? Bob probably lost respect for me. A lot of senior executives do, when you're just kind of, kissing up or whatever you want to call it. They lose respect for you, and your peers lose respect for you too. So just be you. I promise you that you'll go much farther in life and you'll be much happier because you'll live your life on your own terms. You won't become a lawyer because certain people wanted you to become a lawyer or whatever it is, or an engineer or whatever it might be. You got to do you. You be you. You do you. And don't give a damn what anybody thinks of you. And there's a great chart, and I'm going to have to actually draw this on the back of this mouse pad here. That's how we say it in Canada, moose. It's not mouse, Americans. It's moose. Okay. So there's a chart here. On this axis is age, okay? And on this axis is give a darn, okay? Age, give a darn. Right down here, when you're a kid, really young, you don't give a damn. You live at this level, right? You'll have meltdowns in restaurants like I used to. My dad told me I did. You just won't care. Then when you get older, you don't care either. Like old people don't have confidence problems. They have regret problems. So I'll get to that in a second. I don't want you to regret things. In between, when you're like 20 or so, or between 20 and 30, you're up here. You give a damn what people think of you. And that's called the triangle of despair. That's what I call it. And I think you got to eliminate that from your life. You know, you got to live your life at this level. I'm not saying be rude or disingenuous, but be you. And don't care what people think, ever, ever, ever. And so the greatest entrepreneurs in history, they don't give a damn what people think of them. You know, Oprah, she kept getting rejected by major networks. She didn't give a damn. She lived at this level. And if Oprah lived at this level her whole life, she wouldn't be successful. She didn't give it. She just marched the tune of her own beat or drum, whatever you say. Same thing with Bill Gates. He dropped out of school. So did Steve Jobs. You know, you look at J.K. Rowling. She was a single mother, poor thing. She was an assistant. She hated her job. And she got rejected by like 30 different editors or publishers for her books. She didn't give a damn. She lived at this level. That's the way you got to live your life as well. Don't give a damn what anybody thinks, ever, ever, ever. Otherwise, you know, you'll never reach your full potential, and you'll just focus on money mainly. And once you get all that money, it doesn't make you happy. And as David Geffen said, for those of you that think that money will bring happiness, they don't have money. Now let me talk about regret. So the worst thing that can happen to you in life is you're older and you're stuck in this awful job and you're working for this jerk that pays you this much money to make their dreams become a reality. You know, you're never too young to start over or too old to start over even. You know, the average age of somebody, life expectancy, actually the average life expectancy globally is 26 years longer today than it was back in the 1950s. God bless Bill Gates and Melinda as well. So what does that mean? That means that you're all 26 years younger than you think. You know, if you're 56, no, you're not. You're 30. You know, if you're 76, dude, you're not. You're 50. Thinking of 50 Cent now. Yeah. So you're always, you're all 26 years younger than you think you are. So it's never too late to start over. So how do you start over? How do you learn new skills? Well, you can go online to websites like udemy.com. And I never get compensated for saying this. And yes, I sell courses on Udemy, but it's an algorithm. So there's never any whatever. Go to udemy.com and, you know, you take computer courses. I'm going to show you some right now. Okay. Some of these courses are going to change your life. All right. So there's this amazing woman named Angela Yu. And she teaches from her heart. She is her ratings are like 4.7 on all her. I'll never get a 4.7 rating on any of my courses ever. But she used to be a doctor. This is a great story. She's in England, and she has a British accent, which means she speaks gooder than us, which means she's a better teacher than me because of that, and many other reasons too. But she was a doctor, and you know it was cool. She thought being a doctor, but she's kind of more interested in programming. And so she teaches courses here. Look at these things, man. And you can learn anything you want in tech from Angela. You get a 30-day money-back guarantee. It's a great deal. You can reinvent yourself. And this assumes you have no background in tech at all. So it's a great deal. Another great teacher I've got to highlight is a guy that mentored me and helped me named Rob Percival. And Rob Percival used to be a teacher in England. And kind of like Sting. And by the way, Sting, when he was a teacher years ago before he joined the police or whatever, he used to write music while the kids were writing tests and stuff. Pretty cool. But Rob was a teacher as well. And he's from Cambridge. I went to go visit him. And he writes these courses here. And this is a great course. I've actually taken this course here. Actually, I've taken course 1.0, not 2.0. But in 30 hours, you can learn from scratch how to make websites. It's great. It's amazing. I mean, you can reinvent yourself. It doesn't matter how young or old you are. But you got to make sure you do what you're passionate about in life. Like if you get out of bed in the morning and you tell yourself, I'm going to work, then with all due respect, you're doing it wrong. You gotta find your passion, your purpose, your joie de vivre. What is the reason I was put on this earth? And Mark Twain had a great quote. He said, the two most important days in your life are number one, the day you're born, and number two, the day you find out why. What's your why? How do you figure it out? Well, go on a long walk by yourself and think about what makes you happy in life and ignore every other person on the planet. And you do you. You choose a career that makes you happy. And a lot of people are successful and very wealthy, not because they did it for the money, but because they did it because they just want to do what they want to do. They just love doing what they're doing, So for those parents out there that have kids that play video games and you get upset they're playing video games, to a certain extent, I think it's cool that they play video games because most people that have changed the world in technology grew up playing video games. They're just passionate about it. A lot of people work in the tech sector are passionate. But you do you. You find what you're most passionate about and you run after that like a pit bull on a pork chop and you ignore the rest of the world. And it's interesting because when you get a little bit of success, people will say, actually, when you don't get any success, when you're first starting a company, people will say you're crazy. Then you get a little bit of success and they'll say, oh, kind of a crazy genius, I guess. Then you get a lot of success and people just call you a genius. Like if we all look at that picture of, I got to go there, it's a cool pic here. If we all go look at that picture of Albert Einstein, when he's sticking his tongue out, it's got to be here somewhere. You know the one I'm talking about. Here it is here. Yeah. There's a couple of them. All right. So when you see this picture, what do you think? You think, oh, Albert Einstein, brilliant. But if you know who he was, you think, dude, this guy is crazy. Who's this old man with long hair sticking his tongue out? What the hell is that? And that was back then, like many, many years ago as well. He didn't care. And actually, for Albert Einstein, I don't think he could talk until he was like 4 years old or so. He was an awful student. But he obviously didn't give a damn what anybody thought of him. He didn't care. And that's why, E equals MC squared and all that cool stuff, which I'll never understand. But he came up with a lot of things that change the way we think about science in general. So the bottom line is just, you be you. You do you. And don't care what other people think of you. So how do you know what career is right for you? Well, go on a long walk. Like a 10-hour walk. That's right. With a notebook. And write down what makes you happy in life. Or another way to think about it is this. If I tell you today, you're not allowed to go to work, you're not allowed to go to school, and you can't travel for 30 days, what would you do with your time? That's what you should be doing. That's what your career should be. And ignore all the naysayers and cut everybody off in your life that's negative. Get them away from you, dude. They serve no purpose at all. When I was younger, I was much more patient. I used to say, 5 strikes and you're out. Then I got a bit older, it was 4 strikes and 3. Now it's like 2, because one data point doesn't make a trend. But if somebody kind of crosses me twice, see ya, but I wouldn't want to be ya. So that's from Boys in the Hood. Great movie, 90s. But just cut off everybody in your life that you can that's negative. You set the soundtrack for your life. You do. You do. And if you have really negative people around you, it's a really sad violin and slow, cello concerto or whatever playing. But when you have positive people around you, it's like the Black Eyed Peas, like great music, great vibe, gorgeous sonic architecture, and you set the soundtrack for your own life. So the bottom line is just you do you. You be you. And don't give a damn what anybody else ever thinks of you. All right. I gotta get some coffee. And Vipul saying, good morning, Chris. I hope everything's good. Likewise, thank you. Oh, Melody in the house. Melody is a teacher from Atlanta. She just got this badass new job. And Melody, thank you I think you left me a comment. I checked it this morning on YouTube. Appreciate that. Yeah. And I've got this new YouTube strategy now where I'm trying to make the videos shorter and just more funner and stuff. Gooder. Yeah. So Melody's saying, good morning, Chris. Hope you're having an amazing day. I am. Thank you. Likewise. I was looking at your video with your MBA course back in November, and I thought it looks amazing. Love the new look you're putting on your videos. Thank you. Oh, God bless you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Now we're having fun, man. Like the MBA degree program, I've got 158 students in the first year, and we're done in December of this year. It's a 1-year program. It's initially I advertised it as being 300 hours, but the rate we're at now, we're going to be way over 500 hours of brand new content. So it's fun. I even got a new camera, so I'm just using my feet. There we go. I have pedals. Like I'm a little out there. I get it. I'm a one-man crew here, but that's a new camera. It's a 4K C300 Mark II. So is this one here. Yeah. So we're having a lot of fun. Having a lot of fun with this. Yeah. All right. Oh yeah. The next class starts. We start this December, and it's a 1-year program, which should be fun. Yeah, thank you. Okay. And then Dario. Hey, Dario. I went to business school with a guy named Dario. That's right. He was from, he went to IMD. He was from Italy. Italy, that's right. And I remember that was around the time or a couple of years after the fact that Super Mario 64 came out. And I remember he was saying, it's me, Dario. Good to have you. And so Dario is saying, hi, Chris, it's me, Dario. You wrote that too. I must have said that a couple months ago on this webcast. Hi, I'm 7.5. Yeah. Man-child. I get it. Yeah. Thank you. But dude, that was a badass game. Come on. It was amazing. It was so groundbreaking at the time. So Mario 64 came out when the 64 console came out, I think in 95 or whatever it was, or maybe it was 96. Yeah. And it was like the first open world concept game. Like it was brilliant. Like like without that, I don't think the Unreal Engine would have gone as far as it's gone. I know it's a different technology and all that stuff. But it certainly influenced even Rockstar, the makers of Take-Two. They have their own engine called the Rage engine. I'm going to stop nerding out. But dude, it was a masterpiece. And I met with the CFO of Nintendo in early 2006 when I went to Tokyo. They're based in Osaka, but I was in Tokyo. And I worked at a big hedge fund called Citadel then. And I was investing in software, internet companies, gaming companies. And they sent me there to do due diligence. And so I was there with the CFO of Nintendo. And he was expecting me to be like every other investor and ask questions about, what are you going to do with your cash balance? Which I asked him. They had an $8 billion cash balance then. They still do today. And by the way, the reason they do is because they're a very paranoid company. And you know what, dude? They've been around for 130 years. No other tech company has. And of course, they've changed their strategy over the years. But they're very, very paranoid. And at that time, when I asked the CFO of Nintendo about that, he said, we have a big cash balance because we have two competitors with much stronger balance sheets at the time, which were Microsoft and Sony. And so, only the paranoid survive, as the late, great Andy Grove, co-founder of Intel, used to say. But I also asked him, and it was interesting because I had a translator. And you got to be careful with translators because what happens when I used to do Japanese equities, invest in Japanese companies, things would get lost in translation. It was very, very subtle. Great culture, but there was no outright criticism of other companies. It was just kind of very, very benign, responses. But I remember, I could read body language, right? You could see if someone's smiling, whatever. But I asked the translator from Credit Suisse at the time, that was the sell side firm that helped me with that trip. I asked the translator to ask the CFO of Nintendo this question, which was, and it was a real question on my part. And he smiled big time when I asked it because no finance person ever asked this. Here I go. I said, Mario 64 was such a groundbreaking game. And the Super Mario games are amazing too. Why don't you, Super Mario Sunshine was decent as well in the Cube. Why don't you just make a game like that every year? Like, why do we have to wait 5 years? And he smiled first of all. And he answered it really well. He said, you have to understand that only certain developers can make very, very high quality games. It's not a commodity, game programmers especially. He said the same programmers that made the Mario line were the same programmers that worked on Pokemon, as well as Zelda, as well as Donkey Kong, which is kind of owned by Rare, which Microsoft bought. Side story there, but whatever. And the same programs that work on Pikmin. And I got to actually see and meet Miyamoto-san, which was pretty amazing. Yeah. So, and he's the guy that came up with all this awesome stuff at Nintendo. And Pikmin, by the way, when he was a kid, he was in his backyard, and he would look at the garden, and he would kind of see these little guys running around in his mind. That's the crux for Pikmin. But the CFO of Nintendo told me that the developers that make that stuff, Mario games, are the only developers that can make this other stuff. And he also said something else that really hit home with me from a business perspective. He said, you have to understand that if you look at the Walt Disney Corporation, they had Mickey Mouse, Pluto, whatever, Goofy, and all these other characters that unfortunately they don't use anymore because they have to buy growth for whatever reason. But if you look at Disney, they don't put all their eggs in one basket with only making Mickey Mouse movies. They diversify, and we have the same approach as well. So I can't believe I spoke that much just by reading your name, and you said it's me, Dario. Thank you, though. You wrote. Thanks so much for these sessions. My pleasure. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me about Mario. Mario or Mario? Can't remember. And you wrote, anyway, speaking of cryptocurrency, do you have any tips on where to store them safely? Yeah. It's so funny you mentioned that because I've actually just bought these. And for those of you in my MBA degree program, in the next 2 weeks, we're going to unbox these and I'm going to show you how to use them. Okay. So this here is called the Trezor. Okay. And you can go to Trezor.com to learn more about them. This thing is, I don't get compensated, as you know. Okay. This is called the Trezor One, and it stores over 1,000 cryptocurrencies. So this is probably my favorite one. I like this one. There's also and by the way, if you go to a cryptocurrency wallet website and you have to look really hard to see which cryptocurrencies are supported, just assume they only accept Bitcoin and a couple others. Here's another one I'm going to unbox and show you guys how to use. It's the Ledger Nano S. And this is great. This is great. It looks like a USB token. This guy here is a cheap one. It's called Digital Bitbox. And then here you've got KeePkey. So if I were to rank these in order, I would start with this guy here, the Trezor one. Okay. Then I would go to this guy, then this guy, then this guy. And you'll find that if you try to buy these things on Amazon, they're cheaper on Amazon, much cheaper than on the websites of these companies. And one of the reasons is not just because Amazon's, basically negative profit margin company sometimes. It's because a lot of people think that if you buy stuff on Amazon, it might be fake when it comes to this sort of thing. So people don't mind paying a premium and going to the source. I'll let you decide on what to do. So you could do that. You could also create what's called, what's my water? It's okay. The cap's still on. You can also get a safe as well. And this is a prop. It's so funny you mentioned this, dude. Get a safe at your house as well. And by the way, in 2008, when we were within 24 hours of bank machines not working, my analyst Jason at the time, good guy, in my hedge fund, he called all the safe companies he could find because we were looking for investments, and safes were sold out everywhere. And this one's really safe because you can't pick it up and take it away with you. And actually, whenever you buy a safe, you'll see it's kind of like when you go to a hotel. You'll see there's bolts on the bottom, so you can bolt it onto the ground, right? So anyway, I recommend the Trezor if you can. If you can, just be really, really careful. And if you want, Dario, you can join us in the MBA degree program because I teach everything from scratch about wallets, from what the heck are public keys, private keys, what is this blockchain thing? How do we make a wallet? And I've just exposed my QR code on this fake wallet. It has $1 in it, so it's probably going to be emptied out really, really fast. So anyway, but yeah, so check out that course if you can. It's also on Udemy, but I've got a more updated version coming on my MBA degree course. Yeah, which you can find out about at harounventures.com. Yeah. What you can also do actually is let me see here. Some people have fake props as well. I'm going to get these. Screw this. Let's have fun today. Give me 1 second, okay? All right. So these are just other things from the course. It's kind of messy, but with the cryptocurrency, like a lot of people hide them in weird places in their house. So if you have this on the shelf, a dictionary, nobody's going to read it. I promise you, no one's going to touch this thing or steal it. And these are just props, but you could have whatever, put it in there. You can lock it away. Some people do, and I've got other props here. A little bit messy. I wasn't prepared to bring this out. But you can buy, like this is just the box for it. You can, like a lot of people will put their cryptos in things like this. This is fake. In fact, a lot of people when they travel, they go on vacation, they put their money inside a shampoo bottle as well, using this methodology. You know, you could do, people do stuff like this in their house as well. Ajax, right? So it's just fake. It's empty there. And there's many other things you can do as well. Like there's a little, like this is another one here. It's called a hidden wall safe. And so the way this one works is, oh, here it is here. Sorry. You basically, hold on. I can't find the other piece, but I think you get the idea. Yeah. So anyway, these are just some ideas. I've got many more as well. But I think the best thing you can probably do is just get a safe in your house and make sure to bolt it to the ground or get a bigger safe in general. Give me 1 second. Let me put this down here. All right. We're having fun today, right? Okay. And don't, like, be careful with Coinbase. Like I use it as well, but if you're going to use, so internet-based wallets like Coinbase, those are called hot wallets because they're always powered by computers. They're always on, they're hot. And I showed you a bunch of cold wallets. I don't like, if you use Coinbase, like internet-based wallets, I want you to think of that as being your checking account. And then these things as being your savings account. Yeah. All right. And don't ever lose your private key, because if you lose your public key, obviously you're fine and you can get it back. I can show you how if you care. But this thing, your private key, if you lose this, it's a code for these wallets. If you lose this, you'll never get access to those cryptos again. Ever, ever, ever. Yeah. So. All right. All right, next up, Dairo's got another question. He's saying, how do you stand on robo-advisors, meaning Betterment, Wealthfront, Money Farm, Swanest, etc.? Thanks. Yeah. I think you should do your own research. Always, always, always. I think if you rely on other people, then you might end up freaking out and selling at the worst time. Always do your own research. Never watch financial television in interviews with people on financial programs, because what happens is they're very biased. And always understand in business, everybody's biased. They're not unethical. They're just biased. Like if you got a CEO that's being interviewed, you know, she or he is a great salesperson. That's how they got to that position. Obviously, they're only going to say great things about their company. If you got somebody that rose through the ranks to become a portfolio manager at a mutual fund, that person is going to bias you as well. Of course, they're going to talk about stocks they own. They're going to talk their book, so to speak. So always do your own research. Just get rid of all the news around you. Do your own research. And if you want to learn how to do that, you can take my MBA degree program, or you can take a more limited version of that called the Complete Financial Analyst course, where I teach you how to invest. Yeah. All right. And Melody is saying, Chris, I'm reading Give and Take. Wow, it's really helping me to be more of a giver. Awesome. This book really hooked me when it started talking about the Enron executives. So I started thinking, how can I help people right now that need it? I decided to reach out to those students I know that were struggling to help them once a week or so during the summer. And since it's only 2 students so far, I'm trying to figure out how to put both kids in a platform that I can teach both of them at the same time while I teach them. Any suggestion? Oh my God, this is beautiful. Awesome, Melody. And for those who are not familiar with Melody, she's a teacher from Atlanta. She's awesome. She's great. She's been with us for, I guess, the first time I saw you was October 31st. Was at 4:30 p.m. we did that. I remember that call because that was 9 hours long. And I didn't get up once. And I almost did lose my voice. That was Halloween too. But what I recommend doing, Melody, is, and you've joined us on Zoom a number of times here, and you've got a Canon M50 at your house. The backdrop is great. The audio sounds good as well. I think what you can start doing is start teaching from home, like I'm doing here. And you can get students to call in using Zoom, which is free for them to use. And it's so easy to use. And I've set it up so it's like Brady Bunch style. So there's not, I'm dating myself, I know, 9 people on at a time in my MBA degree program during the Q&A sometimes. So I would start teaching online. And when you build a business, also think about how much you can scale the business. And I think that online teaching is the most scalable business model that's ever been created. You know, a lot of people want their children to be doctors or lawyers. And the problem with that, they're noble professions if you're a doctor only or a civil rights lawyer. The rest of the lawyer crap, no, that's right. But the problem with those 2 professions is that you can only have one customer at a time. If you're teaching, you can have 1 billion customers hypothetically at the same time. So I would put everything online. And I know you've made a Udemy course and you're about to hit the publish. So maybe think about it from that perspective as well. You know, what you've learned through putting your Udemy course online, and how can you apply it to teaching a number of different students in a way that is completely scalable. Like in our MBA degree program, I have 158 students from 41 countries, and it works out incredibly well. I teach it in 2 different time zones because not everybody can make each time zone. But I would just try to do it online. I would. It's a great question you're asking, because that will be the crux of your future business model as well. And good for you for thinking about helping as well. It's awesome. I think teaching and along with technology will change every problem in the world. Yeah. And I do believe that in the future, parents will want their kids to be either a doctor or a teacher, right? Screw the lawyer crap. That's right. Or an engineer too. Yeah. But it doesn't matter, because what matters is what you want to do yourself. Yeah. Hey, Ted, how are you? So Ted is writing, your relentless optimism is much appreciated, Chris. And it's a delight to drop in on this webcast. Thank you, Ted. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. And next up is Dario saying, P.S. Hi to everyone. I'm sure we all share the same approach to life. Thank you, Chris, for making it happen. My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And when one teaches to learn. And my students inspire me so much. I've learned so much about my students. Hold on, I'm going to show you. So a bunch of my students have written books using my templates. And you can go to my website. I don't ask for emails or anything. Just go to harounventures.com/ all lowercase, write book, all one word, write book. And you get a template for this. But I'm starting to read up my student, it was just on my students' books, and it really, really inspires the heck out of me. It really, really does. And my students have so many, like, for example, there's this one student from Chicago. He's 16, and his name is Juan David, and he joins us on this webcast every now and then. And he wrote this book on being optimistic. And I wrote the forward for him as well. And here on the back, Chicago Tribune wrote, Juan David easily could be described as a Renaissance man. And he's from Venezuela initially, and he and his mother moved to Chicago. A very, very tough upbringing, but he made it through it all. And he's only 16. It's amazing. And he's given 2 TEDx talks already. Check them out. They're awesome. But he did it because he's optimistic. So he inspires me as well. A lot of my students do. All right, cool. All right, next up, Avi Pro, who is a pilot from Sweden. is saying, a very good morning, Chris, from the United Arab Emirates. You landed there in Dubai or Abu Dhabi. Yeah, it's cool. And then always good to have you. And also Avi Pro is a techie as well. He understands Linux and a lot of other things. I remember you mentioned that about a year ago on this webcast. Yeah. And Ted is saying, if you're going to be two-faced, sweetie, at least make one of them pretty. And you said Daffy Duck said that. Yeah, dude, I haven't seen Daffy Duck for ever. And I remember those. I remember watching. Was it Roadrunner when I was a kid? And it was Saturday morning at 6 a.m. And dude, it was brilliant. See, back then, my kids don't get it, that the only time you can watch cartoons was early on Saturday morning. And it was so brilliant. It was a conspiracy between all the major networks and parents globally. I'm convinced of it. Because parents could sleep in on Saturday mornings and kids could go downstairs and watch cartoons. And I loved it. My brother Jamie and I, we used to live in Bramalea, Ontario. And we would go downstairs on the gray couch and yeah, I remember we would watch cartoons, but I remember watching Roadrunner, and there was there's classical music in the background, which was comforting, in a Nurse Ratched kind of way. I'm not going to go there, but there was also a lot of violence. Dude, these characters beat the crap out of each other. Anyway, whatever. It is what it is, and of course, The Simpsons made a mockery of it in an intellectual way with Itchy and Scratchy, which is hysterical. Yeah. All right. And Melody is saying, Chris, ever used the APA guide style manual? It may sound like, I might sound like a nerd, but I love it. Since I started writing more, I'm using this as a reference. FYI, I got to write a blog post for a publisher. Awesome. I love it. You got to write more. And for those of you that aren't writing yet online or making videos online, don't be a perfectionist. It'll never be perfect, ever. This is week number 78, and I clearly make mistakes all the time. And don't give a damn what anybody thinks of you anyway. But no, thanks for sharing that, Melody. I've never heard of that. I'm sorry. The APA guide style manual. I'm going to do a screen print and come back to that. Thank you. Okay. And next up, did you know the first French fries weren't actually cooked in France? They were cooked in Greece. I didn't know that. And it's funny because I went to Greece with my brother in the summer of 1994. And I remember I was on Ios, and we did all the islands and stuff. I was in Ios, which is the party island. And I remember we bought gyros, and on the inside of those sandwiches, they actually put French fries, which was interesting. It was different. It's pretty cool. And I remember telling my brother there, I'm never drinking again, ever. It was awful. And then we went drinking the next night. It was fun. Okay, cool. And then Kundan is saying, hello, sir. What do you think about a career in Treasury and its future and how to get into it? Yeah. So if you're interested in government and politics, then I think what you should do is take a lot of economics courses and finance-oriented courses. You can even take my complete financial analyst course, because in the first couple hours of that 22-hour course, I talk about macroeconomics. I teach you how to read data and access data and interpret it from the World Bank, as well as the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, et cetera. Yeah. But you're going to have to network a lot as well. And so you can go to my website and read my networking book, or take my Udemy course on how to, it's called the Complete Job Course, which has a lifetime money-back guarantee. Yeah, it's all about networking. It's not about what you know. It's about whom you know. I used to say it's about who you know, and a linguist corrected me and said, no, Chris, it's about whom you know. Yeah. It's about who you know. Yeah. Relationships are always more important than product knowledge. Yeah. Okay. Kunal is saying, good morning, Chris. Good morning, Kunal. Hope you're doing well. And Melody is saying, Chris, what was the name of the water app you have? Oh, yeah. Thanks for asking. Yeah. So one of my health issues is I don't drink enough water. And so I've got this app that's actually synchronized here. And it's called Water Minder. Yeah, it's a couple of bucks, but it's totally worth it. And it every now and then it'll vibrate or tell me here or there, whatever, time to drink water. And then you log it throughout the day. So Water Minder is what it's called. Yeah. Small investment, but it's worth it. It's probably the best app I have on this thing. And I don't think there's that many killer apps on this thing. Yeah. All right. And Kunal's saying, hey, Chris. Hey, Kunal. Really loving the thumbnails on your videos lately. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks. And then Kundan is saying, hello, sir. Call me Chris, please. I've taken some online courses of yours on financial analyst, but will online courses help me get into investment banking when they're competitors from Ivy League colleges? Yeah. Dude, if you network aggressively, like take my complete job course or just go to my website, harounventures.com, and read my networking book, I promise you it will help you tremendously. You know, there's so many stories of people that have gone from the mailroom with no high school education to the corner office, and they get there by networking a lot. That's how they do it. And I've got lots of examples. You know, the former CEO of Goldman Sachs, Sidney Weinberg, no education. He started in the mailroom at Goldman. He was CEO for a couple decades. You know, one data point doesn't make a trend, so I'll give you more. Dick Grasso, who is the CEO and chairman of the New York Stock Exchange, no university degree. Right? He started in the mailroom. Same thing with the former president of Cosmopolitan Magazine. She started in the mailroom. There's so many. Simon Cowell from American Idol, David Geffen. It's the former president of ESPN, started in the mailroom. Why do I mention this? Because they didn't have a formal education, but they knew how to network. And people that work in the mailroom, you know what I'm talking about. The dude that comes up to you and delivers your mail if you work in a big company and says top of the morning to you. You know, they're usually pretty friendly, affable, all that good stuff. So I think if you network aggressively, you can get anything. That's right. Anything you want in life. So read my networking book. Go to my website, harounventures.com. It's a free download. Thanks. Okay, Melody's saying, Chris, I've been listening to this guy from Motivational Doc on YouTube that helps with clogged arteries. Oh, cool. And for those of you just joining me, I was talking about how, at the beginning of this call, I've got pretty bad cholesterol. And so I monitor my blood pressure with this blood pressure watch thing here. And that's just the charging cable. Yeah. And then, so you wrote here, he is originally a chiropractor, but he has some great tips on that topic. Thank you. Thank you. So I will also take a screen print of that. I'll check that out. Thank you. See, I learn more from my students than I teach. Always. This is great. Thank you, Melly. And Kunal is saying, why is shareholder equity a liability for a company? So you wrote, why is shareholder fund equity a liability? So it's not. So the way it works is, and I don't have my balance scale here, but I was teaching my MBA degree students that a balance sheet tells you what stuff you have and who owns your stuff, and it's got a balance, right? So it's assets equals liabilities plus equity. It's got a balance. This side, liabilities plus equity, has to balance with assets. So if I own a car, okay, and I only pay for half of it, it's a $10,000 car. So I have that $10,000 car here, and then I paid for half of it, that's equity, and the other half was paid, or it's a loan to the Bank of Toyota, for example, and that has to balance. Equity means ownership. I have ownership in this car, or somebody else does. Yeah. Liability means debt. Yeah. Okay. iPro is saying, regarding cholesterol, have you tried the LCHF diets? I don't even know what that stands for. Let me take a little screen print of that. Thank you. I think that would get you off the pills. Might not work for all, but I have a very good experience with the LCHF diet. What does that stand for? I took a screen print, but let me know, please. What does that stand for? Because I've looked into it. I've tried. Dude, I'm a biohacker. I've messed around with my diet so many times over the past couple decades or so. And I take, this is out there, but you guys have seen this anyway. Every day I take these. Okay, and a lot of these aren't vitamins; they're herbs. This one here is a relatively benign organic zinc substance because I had my DNA sequenced years ago, and they said with a high degree of probability that when I'm in my 60s, I'm going to get something called AMD, or age-related macular degeneration. My eyesight will go down, which my grandfather had. So that's that one. There's resveratrol, which I got from the head of engineering at Google, a smart guy named Ray Kurzweil. Calcium, chromium, biotin. I take a ton of stuff, a lot of fish oil and omegas and all that good stuff. And a bunch of these are herbs as well. And so I tried every substance there is when it comes to cholesterol, like red rice yeast, which is another pill you can take. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work with me. We're all different. I've had every type of test done on me you could possibly have. Yeah. And so I tried to fight the cholesterol thing for years. I was like, I'm not going to give in. I'm not going to take that medicine. And I just caved in. And I thought, I don't drink anyway, so screw it. Right. So if you take Lipitor or simvastatin, which is what I take, then it will help with cholesterol, but side effect is it can hurt your liver if you drink, and I don't drink. So, okay. Nkuna is saying, also, while skills like coding and Python can get me into finance jobs, because I heard they're looking for people with both tech and finance skills. Yeah, it can help a lot. And even understanding, basic Excel can help you tremendously. And I teach that in a lot of my finance courses as well. And it's fun using Excel and dashboarding products in general, or business intelligence products like Tableau, etc. It's fun because there's not much code in it. You're just kind of dragging and dropping, making buttons, charts and stuff. It's fun. I love it. Yeah. All right. Melly's saying, I don't like going to the doctor. I have this thing when I see the white coat, my blood pressure always shoots high. Yeah. No, it's, I'm not a fan of needles. Like when I get needles, I look the other way. Yeah. Next up is Kavanaugh saying, how does one start as a consultant apart from getting employed? Yeah. So what I would say is, the consulting industry in the United States is very fragmented. There's over 100,000 consulting firms. When we think of consulting, we think of McKinsey, Accenture, where I used to work, good company, Bain, Boston Consulting Group, etc., Deloitte, and the big accounting firms too. But there's a lot of smaller ones, over 100,000 in America. And I'm sure in the world, way more than that, because a lot of people are kind of independent contractors. And if you're an independent contractor, you can call yourself a consultant. It's the same. It's just whatever. It's not even an accounting term. So what I would do to get started is maybe start doing consulting gigs online. I don't know what career you're in, but if you're in technology, you can start doing small consulting projects using Fiverr.com. That's Fiverr.com. Or what you can do is you can go to Upwork as well and start selling your consulting services online if you can, if you have a skill set that has to do with technology. Yeah. Another way to do it is to read my networking book, which you can get from my website, Haroun Ventures. We got the f-stop at like 1.6 today, so it's tough to see that. Sorry, but let me bring this a bit closer. All right. Yeah. So this book is on networking. It's over 200 pages. You can get it from my website, harounventures.com, and I guarantee you, it's free. I guarantee you that if you follow the methodologies in here, you will network to meet people in consulting so you can get that coveted consulting job. Or you can take my complete job course on Udemy, which has a lifetime guarantee. It's 12 hours. It'll teach you everything you need to know. Everything you need to know about creating an amazing LinkedIn profile, resume, etc. It works. I've had over 30,000 people take it, and just read the reviews. That's all I'll say. A lot of people got in jobs because of it. And you got nothing to lose because you got a lifetime money back guarantee anyway. Yeah. All right. I love my coffee. All right. Okay, so Avi Pro is saying, what's the name of the gadget? Does it really work compared to if you go to the doctors? It does. It's called, it's just do a search for Omron, which is, I didn't even realize it's a Japanese company until I Wikipedia'd it the other day. It's called Omron. And Omron is it's a company that makes blood pressure products and many other things too. And I've got a scale from them as well. I bought for $70, which hooks up to my iPhone, which will tell me my BMI index, body fat, and all that stuff. It's a really low pricing point too for the scale. Amazing. This seems a bit more expensive. This is Gen 1, so it looks kind of bulky and whatever. So, but Avi, probably now for you travel a lot. You're a pilot, and so if you have blood pressure, maybe check these things out. You mentioned you're in the UAE now. I know you're originally from Sweden. That's where your home base is. Yeah. Right. But always consult with a doctor, obviously. Yeah. I got to mention that. And I didn't have time to make my shakes this week. We got new cameras and stuff. And so what I did was I cheated and I bought this. It's organic cold press beverage. It's got a lot of green stuff in it. So it has to be good for you, right? Yeah, I guess. Got it from Trader Joe's, which I think is owned by a big German company. Yeah. All right. It's good and good for you. Okay, and then Melly is saying, can you put the link up for the blood pressure device? I don't even know what it's called. I can't remember. But all you got to do is just do a search on Omron, O-M, remember this, O-M-Ron, Omron, O-M-R-O-N, which doesn't sound like a Japanese name. It's a Japanese company. Do a search on Omron and watch, blood pressure watch, yeah. Yeah. All right. And Omron's a very respected company when it comes to blood pressure products. Like I've had them over the years. I've been part of this whole QS movement or quantified self movement forever. But I have one where I pump it up, but it's kind of big, bulky, whatever. And this is great for me when I'm on the road or whatever, working here, and I kind of monitor things. I'm trying to get my heart rate lower. It's not catastrophic. Like I work out an hour every day, and I have forever. On my elliptical trainer while I'm working, right? While I'm editing videos and anyway, so. Okay. All right, let me see here. 140 over 90 is what is the limit. You're good. No, I know. Yeah. And I've done it before where it was lower. Than what I mentioned. And also I've got coffee. It's, I only drink, by the way, I only drink 1 cup of coffee a day. And I have this thing that kind of, it heats up my coffee, which is pretty cool. You can go up or down, whatever. And the good thing about this product is that if I didn't have my coffee like 145 degrees, which is where I like it, I know I'm out there, it would get, if it was lukewarm, I'd kind of just finish it off and get more. But this is all I get every day, this amount here. So I do that. But that will also mess up my blood pressure as well, right? And so I'll do it again, actually, while we're talking here. I'll take it. I'm not supposed to be talking at the same time, so it's kind of messing up.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Dude, I hate Siri. I've got a Siri watch on her.
That's not nice.
Oh my God, I didn't mean it like that. But fuck you, Siri. Sorry. Problem with these live webcasts, dude, is I'm one dumb comment away from just ruining my life. So I push this here, and I'm going to hold it here so you guys can hear it. I'm not supposed to talk and stuff, but I'll let it go while I'm reading the next question here. Okay. And I can feel it getting tighter now on my wrists. Yeah. And the screen sucks. It's just Gen 1. But, okay. Next up is Himanshu, who's saying nice product, value for the money, but keeping it with you could inflate tension mind psychology. It can make the person panic. That could only side effect the product always. Anyways, nice product. Yeah, no. That's one way to look at it. It's yeah, it's kind of like a Fitbit, or a gym membership. Actually, if you pay for a gym membership, you're more likely to go than if whatever. So yeah, and I'm a nerd. Yeah. And I can't feel my hand. Here we go. Okay, it's done. Let's see what the results are. It says, please see the manual error. Okay. I don't know why. So, anyway, I did it earlier today. Anyway, whatever. It's fine. I get it. I messed up. Okay. And then next up is, hey, Chris, quick question. I want to start an online business. Should I complete your MBA first or the web development course? I have both. Yeah. So if it's an online business, I'd say forget about my course. Take like if it's online, like website, you got to create it. I would take the web development course from Rob Percival or Angela Yu on Udemy first. And I think that I think we should all be starting side hustles. If you're not happy and if you're allowed to, you don't have contractually anything where you can't start a company on the side. But you can always take my courses to learn how to start a company and start companies on the side. And when one takes off, then sayonara, like you leave your employer, if that's something you're interested in. Or you can take my courses to help you find a better job. Yeah. I don't teach technology stuff, though. The extent of it is I have a cryptocurrency course. And I also teach, I guess in some of my courses, I teach Excel, but that's not really techie. Yeah. Although I am a techie. I started as a programmer, C++, Java, object-oriented stuff, which I hated because it was hard. I love the Visual Basic stuff, which is why I like VBA. It's just fun within Excel, PowerPoint, Word, whatever. Because I like dragging and dropping and not worrying about code. Yeah. All right. And then Kundan is saying, Chris, what type of people are you looking to hire for your company? Like what skills do you want in them? Yeah. So the first thing, and we are expanding. Yeah. The first thing is I want people that don't see it as a job. Like if I interview somebody and I feel like they're interviewing for a job and not a passion, then I don't think they're going to be very productive. And if you get people that love what they do, they're so productive, it's ridiculous. And it's interesting because in Silicon Valley, there's this saying that if you hire a salesperson that's amazing versus an average one, that's, you get 2x the productivity out of them. But if you hire a programmer that's amazing, then that programmer versus the average one is 10 times, literally 10 times more productive. And a lot of techies are amazing at what they do because they love doing what they're doing. They don't see it as a job. They see it as a passion. They grew up playing video games and coding is like video games 2.0 or whatever it is. They love doing what they're doing. And you don't see this in many other sectors. But I always look for passion. I want people that enjoy what they're doing. I also, what I do is I go with my gut a lot. And I think a lot of you know what I'm talking about. Like when you've met somebody in your life earlier on and your gut told you not to trust them. And then a while later you get screwed over and you're like, damn it, I knew. My gut told me that. And it's something I can't really talk about. It's just something you feel inside. I don't believe in references because it's a game. It's moronic. But people, they only provide references for people that are going to say good stuff. It's so dumb. Like when somebody asks for references, it's as silly as me saying, hey, talk to my mom and dad. They have good things to say about me. And my brother too, actually. Yeah. And my wife and kids. They all have great, call them. Here they are, the references. So I always do my own references. I find ways. Yeah. 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 But I'm going to need somebody with tech experience soon, because what we're doing is I'm going to expand I'm going to make my website much more bigger and gooder and stuff, or whatever you want to say. So I definitely need that. Yeah, but we're small, dude. We're small. There's just three of us, and I do have some part-timers as well, where I outsource other stuff. I hired a guy, actually, a great guy, who's helped me a lot. He used to work at Udemy and at Google. He's helped me a lot with my SEO strategy. Yeah, he's a good dude. Good dude. But I outsource a lot of stuff. I like, you got to ask yourself what business you're in. And, even if you work for somebody else, what is your job function? And for me, the way I look at it is every second I don't spend helping students or every second I don't spend creating content, it's a waste of time. I got to outsource everything else, like my finances, the operating stuff, whatever, gone. It's kind of like if you work in sales, you got to think to yourself, every second I spend not selling is a waste of my time. You got to focus on one thing if you can. If you work at a big company, part of it might be politics, whatever. And I'm not a big company guy. I used to be. But anyway, but we're looking, there's just three of us, right? Doing this, doing all the Udemy stuff, all the Amazon stuff, all the Stack Skills stuff. We're on tons of websites, doing this MBA degree, doing courses. It's crazy. But the productivity I have from people on my team is just off the charts. So, yeah. And I pay them well. Okay. I believe in overpaying and having fewer people. And I think it's kind of like when you, it's like if you're in a group project and there's too many people, it becomes a disaster. Too many cooks in the kitchen. I believe that small group of people can change the world. I really do. And that's why I think small companies can destroy big companies, especially when the founders leave a big company. Yeah. Because big companies get big and bureaucratic, and it's like government. Yeah. Okay. Next up is Stavros. Stavros saying, when creating a new product, meaning a SaaS product, which stands for software as a service, what is best? A, create a small version quickly with only some features, or B, make the full-blown 1.0 products and take much longer. Also, 70% through the job networking course. Awesome. Thank you for that. So I think getting an MVP is out there quickly is good enough. And MVP means minimum viable product. You're never going to ship a product that's perfect. I promise you. And when I used to code, I remember the last 5% of a project took me like 50% of the time. And there would always be this last minute scramble where I tell myself, oh my gosh, I don't want to miss this deadline. So I'm going to focus on number one, the need to haves. And I'm going to say, screw the bells and whistles, meaning the nice to haves. Get the need to haves done. The nice to haves, that will be your version 2 product. But just get something out there. Get it out there fast. That's what I would say. It doesn't have to be perfect. And it can just be a prototype anyway, if it's your company. And then you can raise money from people that see the prototype. It's true. Like I met with this guy named Randy Komisar, who's a general partner at Kleiner Perkins. And Randy Komisar, in one of the companies we invested in, my previous venture capital firm, they invested in as well. And when I met with Randy, I asked him, as I always do, and I meet people more successful than me, which is basically every meeting in my life. But I asked him, what was it like investing in Nest? And so he was the guy that invested in a company called Nest, which is a company that makes a thermostat IoT or Internet of Things device that connects to your Wi-Fi network. And Google, by the way, bought that company for $3 billion. Amazing. And Randy Komisar, he's a rock star. And I said, Randy, how did you do it? How did you know? Like, what was the first meeting like with these guys from Nest? And he said, well, Chris, they came to my office in the boardroom here, and they didn't have a product, but they put down this round piece of wood. And they said the product's going to look like this. But I love the management team. I love the passion they had, their background, the fact they can sell. And so I invest in them. And you're always investing in people when you're an early stage investor, meaning a venture capital firm or a high net worth investor. You're investing in people. Ideas are commodities, but execution is not. And we all know as venture capitalists that your business model is going to change dramatically over the years because your end market probably will. We just want to see if you can excite us. And we think of ourselves as potential customers of your company, and you're selling a dream. It's like you're Jeff Bridges from Tucker trying to sell the car of the future, or Mark Benioff trying to make cloud computing software sound exciting, which he certainly does a great job at. So you got to look for somebody that's an amazing salesperson. And by the way, Google bought Nest, not just for the products, but I think more importantly for the management team and the engineers as well. Yeah. The jockey's always more important than the horse. All right. And Kundan is saying, I would be very happy to work for you, sir. Thank you. And what we might do actually is at some point I'll put up on our website jobs that we're looking to hire people for. So please take a look at that. At some point I'll have it up there. And by the way, if you're doing research on a company and you want to know what their future strategy is, you can always go to the job listings part on their website to see what kind of skills they're looking to hire. And so a couple of years ago, Apple was trying to hire a bunch of auto engineers, more than a couple of years ago. And so people thought, oh my God, Apple might come out with a car or an auto-based operating system. And of course, there's iOS operating system that runs in a lot of cars now. It's interesting, yeah. But thank you for that. Appreciate it. But we're going to get to a point where I'm going to have to bring on people. I'd love to bring on students too. Yeah. Yeah. And actually, my COO, he was a former student of mine when I used to teach at night from San Francisco State. San Francisco State's the best damn school in the Bay Area by a mile. It's awesome. Awesome. You get the brilliance without the entitlement. I'm going to stop talking now. But I've taught everywhere. Okay. Next up, we've got Melody is saying, I love that Steve Jobs video. The one where you search YouTube for Steve Jobs Ask. I look at it when I feel down. This is true. Ask is crucial. I've asked for more connections in LinkedIn, and it's happening every day. Awesome. Mazel tov. Fantastic. Fantastic. You'll never get anything in life unless you ask. Ask and you'll receive. It's prophetic, and it's been true since the beginning of time. Melody, I got a better video for you, though, than the Steve Jobs Ask one. Do a search on YouTube for Steve Jobs Smarter Than You. It's like a minute long. It'll change your life. Again, Steve Jobs Smarter Than You. You'll love it. It's a game changer. Okay. Hey, Solly in the house. Solly, how are you? Solly is from Lithuania. Or he lives in Lithuania. He's from Iran originally. He travels the world. You were in Rome recently, I think, as well. And he's one of my awesome MBA students, and he just started vlogging. Solly, I have to go and find your vlog. Actually, send me a link because I want to share it with everybody here because it was really inspiring to me. So share it here, Solly, please, if you want, to your vlog. And then obviously, instead of putting .com, you put .dot. So that the YouTube filter doesn't block that. Yeah. If you want. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And then Melody is saying, oh my God, Chris, I was going to tell Rohit to read that book. Awesome. Awesome. The Give and Take. Yeah, yeah. It's a great book. All right. Next up is Kashish. Kashish, first time I've seen you on the call. Welcome to the call. And I hope you join us again. Thanks. And so Kashish is saying, hi, Chris. Good morning. Hope you're doing good. Likewise. Thank you. Just started your MBA course on Udemy, and I want to tell you that it's fantastic. I had purchased it a year ago, but couldn't complete. Thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. And the amazing thing about that course, and it's been a life changer, is I never did it for the money. What I did, and that course took me like 8 or 9 hours to make one day. So what I did was this. I was on the board. I'll show you actually. I'm on the board of this great foundation in East Palo Alto called the Limo Foundation. And let me show you this actually. This is pretty cool. And so what I would do was I would teach some of the boards I'm involved with. I would teach students from the Limo Foundation. Let me just make sure hold on. I was here it is here. Okay, yeah. So this is one of the students here at Limo Foundation. Limo Foundation is for these kids that live in East Palo Alto. That they a lot of them have deadbeat fathers, and the high school graduation rate in East Palo Alto is only 40%. So let me get it. I gotta get a picture of this here. Yeah. And so what I did was I created in January for these students, January 2016, a one-day event where one of the other board members, Patrick from Longitude Capital, a venture capital firm, let us use his office. And what we did was I took all these students, and they were between the age of 9 and 17, and we give them scholarships to the best schools. And they all end up going on becoming incredibly successful because, education solves everything. And so what we did, or what I did was I went and I created all these, degrees for them. And I taught for 12 hours one day in January of 2016. And I called it an entire MBA in one day. And at the end of that, I mean, it was amazing, dude. Like these kids were from 9 to 17. And their attention span was off the charts. They were like the whole day was amazing. It was great. And I made these degrees for them as well. And that was kind of and then what I did was the next day at home, what I did was I put up a camera in my bedroom and I started, I was recording. And my wife saw it and she said, honey, this is not happening. I'm like, no, I'm making a course. And so I just recorded and let it go. And I threw it up on Udemy and I didn't really, I poured my heart into it. And then a couple days later, it was profiled in Business Insider and a couple 100,000 people saw the article, whatever, and it took off. But it was never about the money. It was just, I just wanted to do this. And so what I've since done actually, and let me show you more of these here. And yeah, so here's the certificate I made for them. And this influenced me to make the MBA degree program as well. Let's see, we're still recording. Yeah. Great kids. And this woman here, Lilika, she's on my board right now. She's great. Lilika, she's a graduate of the LIMO program as well. And this is just some thing, whatever. But I'll show you guys I'll show you the degree I set up. And it was all actually influenced by that one day. This is a cheap, that's a camera lens that I put on this thing so it'll stay up. A little behind the scenes, lazy man's way. So I've got here the degree for the MBA degree program, right? So let me try and do a point to it. This will probably be the image for this week's call. So you go like this. So those that vlog, after you finish vlogging, you keep the camera running, you point and do a couple things so that becomes your image. So I'll point here. Yeah, and hopefully you guys can see it. Maybe not. Yeah, but this here is the degree for the program. And for those that are interested in the MBA degree program, you can go to my website, harounventures.com and learn more. But that was the crux of this. I'm not very conventional, as you guys know. There's Velcro holding that, by the way. But the idea for this was inspired by those LIMO students. They're amazing. They're great. They're amazing. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Kashish. Appreciate that. And Humanshu was saying, it's nice that you're a pilot one day. I also want to fly my private plane and be optimistic. It'd be cool to be able to fly, dude. It'd be awesome. And I was watching yesterday with Matt, my videography guy. He's awesome, my chief creative officer. We were watching this dude that had wings, and he was flying jet propulsion based in Dubai. It hit the internet recently. Amazing. But it looked like he was Superman. It was incredible. And it's obviously it takes a lot of fuel to do that. Eventually, you'll have Elon Musk type batteries that will power those things. And I think my grandchildren will actually, if they want to go to a friend's house, I think they'll fly there. It's totally out there, but the technology is there, right? And obviously, they got to regulate it and all that stuff. But I think it's only a matter of time where people have jetpacks. Why not? All right, Gaurav is saying, hey, Chris, how do you invest in stocks, especially in an unpredictable market like India, where all stock exchanges are in a slump? Yeah. So I recommend taking my complete finance course on Udemy because that will teach you, how to invest. I'll never tell you what stocks to buy, but I'll teach you how to fish instead of giving you a fish, so to speak. But you want to look at fundamentals first, valuation second, and a very distant third, if at all, technicals. So check that out. You got a 30-day money-back guarantee. I promise you I'll help you. Yeah. And I've invested a lot in India over the years, and I've done well there. I invested in Satyam, Wipro, Infosys years ago through the ADRs, meaning the version of those stocks that trade on the American Stock Exchange, and also on the Sensex, Bombay. I invested there. I also invested not just in tech companies, but also in a lot of cyclical companies like Mahindra, which is like an engineering services company. And Tata Motors, of course. And there's Crompton and Greaves, actually. That was a great one for me years ago. Yeah. That's the engineering and services company in India. Yeah. But if you take my course, the methodologies I teach you are global in nature because I've invested in most major economies in the world. Yeah. But the biggest investment I'm doing this year is with one of my MBA degree students named Vital, who I met at a Udemy conference in Berlin. He's from Rwanda, and we're flying together to put up a school in his hometown called Magu in Rwanda. And we're going to do it right after our students graduate this December. So December, I think 8th or so, or whatever it is, we're flying to Rwanda, and we're going to provide access to all my courses and tons of online courses for free. We're going to set it up with solar, et cetera, and it's going to be fun. We're going to have a blast with it. It's going to be great. And everybody in my MBA degree program, what they do is they all have to write a business plan as part of a venture capital boot camp in the 3rd and 4th semesters. And so the business plan that Vital is creating is the one for the school. And he sent me some preliminary pictures of the site, and it looks awesome. It's awesome. I love my students. Okay. Next up is Asamina is saying, good morning, Chris. How are you doing? I'm doing great, thanks. So Asamina is from Greece originally, lives in Brussels, and she works at Ryanair, which is a great discount carrier. And she also is awesome at making video games, and she's creating a badass video game right now. And my wife is Greek too. And Asamina, I was talking to my wife the other day. We were looking at old videos of the kids, and we would always pick the kids up, like they'd be lying down, and we'd pick them up with their hands slowly. They sit up, and we'd say "Upalakia, Upalakia." And I thought Christine made that up, but it's actually Greek, right? What is it Greek for? Upalakia. Let me know, please. Yeah. Okay. Now I lost where I was. Hold on a second. Oh, here we go. Good. And somebody said, brah, I want to be like Chris someday. No, please. I remember those commercials, Be Like Mike, for Nike. Speaking of that, like Michael Jordan, I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that's why I succeed. I smiled for a second there because that's going to be the picture this week, I think. But I had this made actually at, where do you get this done again? Online. Etsy. ETSY. Get your favorite quote and get it custom made and put it on the wall. You know, and if you have kids, you know, along with the cars they put in the wall, whatever it is, or whatever those big posters that stick on the wall these days. It's different now, I know. But what you can do is get quotes like this for your kid. Ask your kid, you know, what are their favorite quotes, and get a quote and custom make it with them. It'll be fun, and put it on the wall. And, you know, you come into their room to kiss them goodnight, read them prayers, whatever. It'll inspire you as well. So I want to be like Michael Jordan. Now, it's going to drive me crazy if I don't get it perfect here, okay? All right, hold on one second. Sorry, I am that guy that tries to be perfect. Not really. That's good, right? I think. This is where I get a lot of thumbs down. I get it. But this is me. It's just who I am. All right. I think that's good. All right. And then Kashish is saying, please go give your thoughts about how incubators work. Yeah. So incubators, it's kind of like if you think of a hospital to help babies, whatever, that are premature. It's kind of like that for startups. And so there's a bunch of institutional operations out there globally that do this. There's one called 500 Startups. There's another one called Y Combinator. And there's another one that I used to be on the board of here in San Francisco called Plug and Play Tech Center. And I used to help them pick investments. And all those three places, Plug and Play Tech Center, as well as Y Combinator and 500 Startups, what they do is you go there for like 3 months, and they'll pay you a little bit of money, and they get a small percentage of your company. And they'll teach you how to scale your business, you know, how to sell, how to create a slide deck of 10 slides to raise money. And I used to present to them too. I used to go out and present, and I've been to all these conferences, whatever. And I've actually invested in a company from 500 Startups. Yeah, I saw one there. So anyway, that's how that works. And if you're curious, I was at Stanford University, and I was they interviewed me on stage for some incubator thing at the Graduate School of Business. And you can just go online, go to my YouTube vlog and search for the word Stanford, and you'll find it there. And it's an hour-long interview. They interview me, whatever, and it'll help you understand how incubators work. Yeah. Okay. And next up, we got Gotham, who's saying, I want to get into investment banking from trading. I have all the knowledge. I'm struggling in interview with HR questions. Yeah. So what I recommend doing, Gotham, is going to udemy.com and taking my complete job course. And there's a lifetime money back guarantee. I guarantee you it'll work. It's like 11 or 12 hours. It will work. If it doesn't, you got a lifetime money back guarantee. I promise you it works. I have an insanely high number of students that have taken it and gotten the job of their dreams. Try it out. Yeah. And I've had one person ask for money back for a lifetime guarantee, by the way. You get 30-day money back on Udemy, but after that, just contact me. I'll give you your money back. Yeah. All right. Let's see what else we go here. Chris, I was thinking the same thing. Materialistic possessions bring temporary happiness. Having life experiences with your family are priceless. It's so true. It's so true, man. It's like if I had $1 and I could spend $1 on an app or a ringtone or whatever it is, or I gave that $1 away, what would make me feel happier? Of course, giving it away. You know, we become so materialistic. And one thing I worry about with all this social media stuff is like Facebook, for example. Like Facebook there's so many negative things about Facebook, not just the whole Cambridge Analytics rigging elections things, but Facebook is this false sense of reality. And people get depressed when they go on Facebook because when you go to Facebook, you have friends of yours or people that you haven't seen since high school 8 million years ago. And people will only post things that they're happy about or materialistic things or whatever it is, not only materialistic. And it's this false sense of reality. And so you go there and instead of, seeing pictures of other people and being happy for them, you feel kind of depressed because I don't know, it just has this weird effect on many people. So, and also what social media is doing, and for those of you that haven't seen Sacha Baron Cohen's speech on this, please do a search on his speech online. He's the guy that did Borat. My God, is he a prolific speaker? But he's right, and I felt the same way over the years, over the past decade, that Facebook is really dividing society because they have these sponsored stories, videos, whatever, and what they do is they give you videos that magnify your opinion. So if you're a Democrat, if you're left wing, this is the left coast I live on. Okay. I'm one comment away from destroying my life. Okay. I'm a libertarian. I love Ronald Reagan. He's my hero. Yeah. But if you're a Democrat on the left coast, then what happens is you're given a lot more videos that are focused on Democrats. If you're a Republican, you're given more videos that are focused on, being Republican. And so you've got America at odds now, more so than any point in history. Well, maybe since the hippie movement in the 60s. So it's really, really unhealthy. It's really unhealthy. So, yeah. But no, I agree though that you got to buy experiences, especially traveling. And for those of you that haven't gotten married yet, and you're younger and you're getting married and you're thinking about a honeymoon and you're thinking, well, I don't have that much money yet, but I will one day. And so I'll just do a 1-night honeymoon or 1 week. Dude, go into debt. Like find a way and just spend a month traveling, with your spouse. If you can possibly do, if you can't, I get it. But the problem is when you travel the world, and you go on these bus tours and you start, kind of doing tourist stuff. People are either really, really young or really, really old. So get these experiences. Like there's this guy named Trevor Geller. Great guy. And he's helped me a lot. I actually hired him just part-time to help me out with my SEO strategy. But he worked at Google for a couple of years in SEO, AdWords. I actually made a course with him on Udemy. Good guy. And then what he did was he worked at Udemy for a couple of years as well. And he and his girlfriend, they're now engaged. They took a year off and they traveled the world. And he came back and he started interviewing. And he's gotten like multiple job offers. And I remember talking, I was like, dude, I hope everything's okay when you're interviewing if they see a gap. And he's like, actually, it's helped a lot because he comes across as more worldly and he has interesting experiences too. Yeah. So I do agree that it's probably more important to buy experiences instead of buying things. Yeah. And Melly's saying, I asked my kids, would you rather go on a fun trip instead of big gifts for Christmas? 2 out of 3 said yes. And you said, we'll see. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. And then Mad Cow saying, kids aren't usually known for their delayed gratification. Yeah. I took my kids to Disney. I remember I was stressed out. It was 2008 and the world was ending. And Christine was in New York with her girlfriends having fun. And on a Saturday morning, I decided at noon, screw it, I'm going to go to Disney. And so what I did was I took Andrew and Matthew, Dylan wasn't born then, and we drove down to Disney, spent one night there, went to the theme park. And I remember at the end, we went to a store and I said, I'll let you guys buy anything you want, whatever. Whenever I get stressed out at work and stuff, I give to my kids. It makes me happy or whatever. And whenever I have any sort of, I don't know, big milestone I reach in life, I buy stuff for my kids, just the way I am. But I remember went to the store, they could buy anything they want. And Andrew, all he wanted was a little bit of candy. I remember I said, Andrew, here's an Indiana Jones hat. Remember the ride we went on? He was like, no, I want that candy. Like instant gratification. I know what you mean. Yeah. Those are fun times. And by the time your kids are 12, you've already spent 90% of the time you're ever going to spend with them. Yeah. You can't get the time back. All right, Himanshu is saying, damn, when I was a kid, I wanted to be an aeronautical engineer. However, now I'm a scientist, but working under people really sucks. That's why I'm learning finance and business now. Oh, Himanshu, this is awesome. You're my favorite type of person to talk. This is perfect. I want to help you, dude. I want to help you. Take my complete business plan course and start companies on the side and ask me about them here on this weekly call, please. And for those of you that want to ask questions, but you're like, oh no, I don't want my boss to see, then have a different YouTube address and ask me questions here. I'll walk through walls for you, whatever it takes to help you live your life in your own terms. Yeah. And you only have to be right in business, Himanshu, one time. One time. Yeah. Yeah. Nope, there's my stomach. All right. Oh, Melda, you have 3 kids. I didn't know that. I thought you just had a 13-year-old and an 11-year-old. They were on the webcast. You got a 17-year-old as well. That's cool. Very cool. Yeah, I'm starting to be a little bit cooler now with my 15-year-old. For a little while there, I had to drop him off like a couple blocks away from the party. But I'm starting to be a little bit cooler now, just a bit. I don't know why, but I'm still very uncool. But yeah. All right. Yeah, our daughter's first birthday is today. Awesome. Oh, dude, enjoy every second. I remember Andrew's first birthday. So happy. And you know what? I'll definitely start teaching her about finances early so our family never struggles with money again. Very cool. Yeah. That's awesome. And I bought Andrew, who's now 15, but a couple of years ago, I think he was 13 or maybe he was 12 in 2017, whatever. I bought him for Christmas a stock certificate for his wall, nicely framed. It says, Merry Christmas, Andrew, love, mom and dad, 2017. And it was 1 share of Manchester United, right? Which is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And so instead of just having athletes on his wall, he's got a stock certificate as well. So he can, basically think about maybe I'll buy that team one day. Why not? And for some reason, when we get older, we just when we were younger, we dreamed a lot. It's a beautiful thing. Like we had pictures of cars in our wall or a little model car, Ferrari, whatever it is in our room. And then we get older and we stop dreaming. Like, I don't know why, but everybody should have some sort of prop or thing, something they want to aspire to. I've got a little prop over there. I'll show you guys if you want me to, whatever. But buy a nice little prop for your desk or something that just kind of motivates you. Yeah. If that's something that makes you happy. I don't know. All right. Let's see here. And Melody wrote, Rob Percival's fantastic. He helped me with copywriting. It's awesome. No, he's great. He's good. And he speaks like he's British. I'm convinced they speak gooder than all of us. Yeah. All right. Next up, as a side note, I've been looking for a mentor / someone to share ideas with. Anyone know someone, or should I stalk LinkedIn? Yeah. I think you should just, find people who have something in common with you that are older than you, that were basically you 20 years ago. And they'll help you. They'll help you. They'll meet with you. All you got to do is ask. Yeah. Okay. Himanshu is saying, I think Chris is spiritual also. Oh, thank you. He always says very true things from his real experiences, which motivates everyone. Great job, Chris. Thank you. Thank you, Himanshu. God bless you. I appreciate that. Melody is saying, listen, I remember Mario Kart, is it Mario? Or I always get corrected. Mario Kart was the bomb. I was hooked on it. I used to do my homework in school so I could come home and play. Yeah, dude, it's fun. Like my kids, I think we have 8. Mario Kart 8 is the latest one. My eyes aren't as good as they used to be. So, but I started out playing games like that. Like, I played probably the best first-person shooter ever was GoldenEye, which was that James Bond movie, and that came out on the Nintendo 64. And oh my God, that was fun! I played that forever. It was a blast. Proximity Mines; those are my favorite ones. Yeah. But no, Mario Kart's cool. I love it. I love it. Yeah. Okay. All right. And Melody's saying, I wish they made the Mario Kart game like an open concept game, like Minecraft. Oh, interesting. It would be so cool to see what people can create. It's so interesting. They have a Mario game where they're on the second version now, where you can actually create 2-dimensional levels. And I'd love for them to do 3-dimensional levels as well. You'd probably see a lot of cool stuff. Yeah, the game hasn't done as well as I thought it would have. Again, they're on version 2 now. It's pretty good. And we were excited about it when we first got it because you can download levels that are made by people all over the world. But the problem is that it's lacking a storyline. Like, people love playing the Mario games because there's a storyline. You know, Princess Peach, you have to save her or whatever it is. There's no storyline when it comes to downloading these levels. You're just kind of playing these tricked out levels, and it's fun, but it lacks storyline. And I think that what makes a great video game is storyline as well. Like Uncharted or anything that Naughty Dog Studios makes. They're making The Last of Us Part 2. It comes out in May of this year. I'm going to buy it for sure. I have to play with the lights on, though, because I played Part 1 with the lights off, and it scared the crap out of me. But anything Naughty Dog makes is great. You know, it's kind of like ideas are commodities, but execution is not, and they're just great at what they do. And if it was easy to make a great storyline for video games, then LucasArts would have killed it, would have done very well with the Indiana Jones games, many of which they failed. You know, Uncharted is what Indiana Jones games should have been. But storyline's important, very important. You know, like Halo is getting so boring for me because aside from Master Chief, there's no storyline. It's getting boring, you know. But if you look at Grand Theft Auto, they're brilliant, not just in their open world concept games, meaning Rockstar Games. The parent of that company is Take-Two Interactive. But they're great with storylines as well. Really good, right? Like all the Grand Theft Auto games, for the most part, have great storylines and fantastic character development. It's really, really well done. And so a lot of video games have cool graphics. It doesn't matter. What matters most is the storyline, I think, for a lot of these things. Yeah, but I believe, and I wrote an article, I write in a lot of magazines online, whatever, just for fun, for free. Like I wrote a couple guest articles in Wired magazine years ago. And one of them, I mentioned that Microsoft's acquisition of Mojang, which is the parent company of Minecraft, their acquisition of Mojang was the most important acquisition that Microsoft has done since MS-DOS in the 80s, which is kind of like the underpinning or lining, so to speak, of Windows. Yeah. But I wrote that because I think that a lot of kids when they think of Microsoft, they think of kind of Xbox, and now they kind of think of Minecraft. And what Minecraft is it or what I think Microsoft probably thinks of Minecraft is this. They probably think of it as being like a software development platform longer term. So, like for example, whenever you're in Minecraft, my kids play it. When they pull a lever, a door opens or a rocket fires, and that's like rudimentary or very basic if-then logic, computer programming logic. And so I think that coupled with HoloLens, which is their 3D, their virtual reality goggles. People are going to start making Minecraft games, whatever, in using augmented or virtual reality, Microsoft HoloLens. And that's like an SDK, a software development kit for 3D models for kids. And I think as kids get older, they'll be able to use Microsoft software development kit programming tools to create 3D worlds. And VR is definitely the future. So I think it's a very strategic acquisition. They paid a couple of billion for it. Microsoft buying up by Mojang, because that next generation, the way that they code is going to be kind of like in that movie with Michael Douglas and Demi Moore. That movie, it was Michael Crichton movie and book called Disclosure, where he was dragging around database entries, or like we saw in Avatar. Swiping the screens, or we saw Minority Report swiping as well. I think that the software development platform of the future is going to be VR based. And a lot of that, the underlying code, I think will come from HoloLens as well as Minecraft as well for 3D models, etc. And it's smart because you have an entire generation of kids that grew up playing Minecraft. And they'll think of that as a software development kit for programming within the Microsoft ecospace longer term. Because older people, we think of Microsoft, we think of a software company, sells software to companies. Younger people, the branding is completely different. They think of, it's a company that makes Xbox and Minecraft. Yeah. All right, Nakash is saying, hey, Chris, I've watched your courses in Udemy. Thank you. As well as downloaded your audiobook in Audible. I'd like to know, what's your secret in consistently making good content, videos, MBA, etc.? Thank you. No, thanks for asking. Thank you for your support. I appreciate it, Akash. Thank you. So I do it from my heart. I do what I enjoy doing. And when you do what you love doing, you're incredibly productive with it. And for those of you who haven't found your passion in life yet, keep looking for it. And you'll know you find it. It's like true love. You'll know you find it because you'll wake up one morning and say, I'm not going to work. I'm doing what I'm passionate about. And when you do what you love doing, you create a lot of content. And it's easy. It's kind of like when you're watching a basketball game or a sports match on television. They don't, like these athletes, they don't go to work. They don't say, I have to get up and go to work today. They have a passion. They love doing what they're doing. And that's the trick. You got to find your passion in life, your purpose, and a lot of artists, they love what they do. Obviously they paint, they just love it, for Michelangelo, Leonardo, and the other Ninja Turtles, they never had a job. They had a passion. And that's why they were so creative, so good at what they're doing. And so the reason that I'm able to create a lot of content is because I don't have a job. I have a passion. I love doing what I'm doing. And for those of you who haven't found your passion yet, keep looking for it. You'll know when you find it. It's like true love. You'll have this feeling deep down inside, this euphoric feeling almost all the time. And you'll forever be happy. It's kind of like when you hold your baby for the first time, but not as good. Holding a baby is more important. But you unlock this level of happiness you never thought you could have ever. Take a little bit of that and throw it into what I'm doing now, or what people do when they love doing what they're doing. It's this bizarre euphoria you feel that keeps you going, keeps you creating. It's fun. And the second you do it just for the money is the second that it sucks. Like for me, I started making this course a couple of years ago called the Complete Management Course. And I hated it because a lot of management techniques, it's qualitative stuff. You can't really apply it. I torched the whole damn thing. I took a flamethrower. I'm done with it, right? Not a flamethrower, but you know what I'm getting at. Because it felt like I was doing it for the money and my heart wasn't into it. So you got to do what you love doing in life. And when you do, you'll be able to create. It's like an artist. Yeah. All right. And Himanshu saying Chris can be, hold on a second. Give me a second here. Sorry. One second. Okay, and Himanshu wrote, Chris can be a very good public speaker too. No, thank you, and I appreciate that. Thank you. I used to be so scared of public speaking. Like I'd rather die than give a speech. And then I ran to my fear one day. I went to jail. Yes, folks, I went to jail through my church. It wasn't a religious thing, but I helped out a lot of these kids in Redwood City in the McGuire Correctional Facility. You know, they had a deadbeat father, whatever it is. And I just helped them. And I went there one week with, and the priest wasn't there. It was like a mass thing on Sunday. And so I've told you all the story before, but I had to get up and give a speech, and I was scared, but I ran to my fear. Now I love it. And for any of you that are scared of something in business, I promise you your competition is scared of it as well. And if you run towards your fear and embrace it and condition yourself to enjoying it, then you'll beat the pants off the competition. You know, if you're scared or, you know, intimidated by accounting, then learn to read financial statements like a good book. Take my complete financial analyst course, or my introduction to accounting course, or my complete presentation course. If presentations is something that you fear in business, but you always want to run to your fear in life, because it makes you a better person, and it makes you, I don't know, realize your full potential in life. All right. Okay, let me see. And if I skipped anyone in between, please let me know. Sometimes YouTube jumps around. And Creative Finance is saying, Yolanda is saying, you crack me up about lawyers. Thank you. You know what I'm talking about, though, eh? Like, dude, like lawyers are like taxi drivers. When they cut you off, you hate them. But when you need them, and you're late for that meeting, and you're in the back of a cab, and you've got an aggressive cab driver, just cutting corners, whatever, you love them, right? It's kind of like that. But actually, I only love civil rights lawyers. Yeah. All right. And I wanted to be a lawyer for a while. I think I was insecure. Like my older brother, Jamie, who's my idol, my hero. You know, he's a doctor, like my dad. He's also a radiologist. They both fix radios. And so I thought, well, to measure up, I guess, like, I didn't want to be a doctor. Like, I love helping people and stuff, but I didn't want to be a doctor. I went to hospitals just to check it out, and I just didn't want to be around all the blood and stuff. And so I thought, well, how do I measure up? Well, maybe I'll become a lawyer. And my parents never pressured me to do any of that stuff ever, please. And I remember I read a book by Scott Turow. He wrote the book and the movie Presumed Innocent with Harrison Ford, but he wrote a book called 1L, which is about his first year at Harvard Law. And I started looking into law. And I watched the movie at the time, A Few Good Men. Remember the one with Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson? You can't handle the truth. And I was inspired. And so I went down to Harvard, like I'd ever get in, and other law schools. And I would audit classes. I'd sit in. And dude, I was bored to tears. You know, and they had to read these big, boring books. And then I met with a lot of these lawyers, and I thought to myself, do you become an asshole after law school, or are you kind of like that going into law school? You know what I mean? And it bored me to tears. And I don't think many lawyers like their jobs anyway. And it was an ethical thing too. You know, and yeah, not all lawyers lie, whatever. But a lot of them do. Like, if you know your client is guilty, how can you ethically represent them? And you know what I mean? And I'm not just talking about criminal law. I'm talking about corporate law as well. So anyway. All right. Gregory in the house. Gregory, I smile every time I see you because I think of Gregory, that great actor in that TV show Succession. I know I say it all the time, but it is a great show. Yeah. Okay. And then Greg's saying, what do you think about Jeff Bezos' $10 billion investment in green innovation? Yeah, I haven't really read up on it. But anytime somebody can make the planet a better place than when they entered it, is a great thing to me. Yeah. So it's his way. And at some point he's got to do a lot more. But it's like what Bill Gates has done with Melinda. It's such a beautiful thing. And Jeff is going to have to do a lot more than that. With great power comes great responsibility. And so from a PR perspective, you can tell he's trying to do a lot right now, recently. And I see it over social media. And I commend him for it. Some of it's backfiring, but I think he's doing a great job. And this whole Jeff Bezos witch hunt by Donald Trump, it's just not, it's not fair. And I think part of it is actually because of the fact that he bought the Washington Post, which might have some not so flattering articles. I'm going to stop the politics thing now. Okay. I'll stop. Yeah. But I do respect Jeff Bezos. Yeah. All right. Oh, cool. Avi Pro's saying, LCHF means low carb, high fat. Yeah, I do that actually. I'll show you. Where's it again? Oh yeah, here it is. Here. Hold on. Yeah, I've been doing this for a while. So some people call it the keto diet. So what you do, and these are raw almonds. I love them. They're great. But whenever I look at what I'm going to eat, I don't care if it's high in fat. I don't care. All I care about is carbohydrates, right? And obviously I care about protein and stuff too. But the way you look at it is people say, well, just eat foods that have low carbohydrates and you won't gain fat. Like don't eat bread or rice or pasta because it's high in carbs. But a better way is actually this. And I'm reading this off of this Trader Joe's almonds thing I buy. Always have almonds around if you're hungry. It's the best nut for you. It's so good. Okay. But what you do is you look at total carbohydrates. And then what you do is you deduct dietary fiber and they call that net carbs. I'll explain that in a second. So one little pack here of these almonds, there's a bunch of little packs here, has 7 carbs, but they also have 4 grams of fiber. So 7 minus 4 is 3. That's called net carbs. And that means your body thinks, you're tricking your body into thinking that you're not consuming 7 grams of carbs. You're actually only consuming 3 grams of carbs, net carbs. So I do that. Yeah, I have a lot of fat and protein in my diet. And carbs, it's harder. Like I'll do some complex carbs before I go to the gym. It kind of helps. But I do try and limit it. Especially you get older, it's harder to kind of, whatever. Yeah. And that's why I bought that scale from Omron recently. It's like $70. And it's a scale that will actually it'll help you with your body mass index. Like I bought this watch, and I'll show you guys the scale. Actually, it's really good. It measures body fat. Like I don't think you should go on a scale to measure how much you weigh. That's moronic. You got to basically look at your BMI index, your body fat as well. So let me go to Amazon. Let's go to orders. All right, and let's go to Omron. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I bought this one years ago. That's right. In 2011, I used to monitor my fat with this thing here. This was like $20, and you hold it out, and it will tell you what percent of your body is fat. But I bought this one here on February 12th this year. Yeah. And this one here is like $70. Yeah, $75. Not bad actually for what it does. I'm pretty happy with it. But what it does, it hooks up to I guess iOS and Android, whatever. You can get ones without that if you want. I like it this way. For an extra $5, you get Bluetooth, right? This one here, you hold on to the things, whatever. But this one here, I'll step on it, and it will tell me not just my weight, but more importantly, using these sensors here on my feet. Okay, these 4 sensors in the corner. It'll tell me what my body mass index is, or how much fat I have in percent terms. And that's the best way to look at it, instead of actually looking at how much you weigh, because if you look at how much you weigh, the issue is that muscle weighs a lot more than fat. So anyway, I recommend it. It's a good product. I like it. And Fitbit's got a scale as well called the Aria, and they have the Aria 2 now. It's a little bit more pricey, but if you're in the Fitbit ecosystem, you can check that out as well. Yeah. Okay. And then Zach's been a couple months, man. Hope you're doing well. Is saying, hi, Chris. It's been a while. That's right. Since I watched your last webinar. Lots of things happening to me since then. I moved back to my home country of Somalia. Oh, cool. I know you're from Somalia. Very cool. Very cool. Well, welcome back. Welcome back. And then Zach wrote, I'm distracted always with short time benefits. How should I stay focused on long-term goals? Yeah. So what I recommend doing is scheduling every single day. And I've got a template you can use. It's free and I don't ask for emails and stuff when you go there, but let's go there together. So go to harounventures.com. And I have been called Haroun. Like when I was younger, we would go to dinner and we're waiting for us to be called. I got two sisters and a brother and parents. And we were waiting for them to call us, page us, whatever. And when our table was ready, they'd say, Haroun, party of six. Haroun, party of six. Or Haroun. Yeah. And Melody, your son was on back October 31st. And he said, hi, Mr. Haroun. And he pronounced it perfectly. And so respect. Yeah. You got a good kid there. All right. So if you go to my website here and you go here to write book, all lowercase, okay? Write book, all one word. Actually, that's not the one. I'm sorry. It's schedule. God. Schedule. That was a template for writing a book. Yeah, schedule. All lowercase. Yeah. And then what you can do is, Zach, you download this. And this one here, and I've got a more advanced version for my MBA degree students. But this here will open up in PowerPoint. And what you can do is you can drag stuff around, whatever. And this is just for me. And this is kind of an old one for me. But I would have here your goals, right? So you can say here, goals. And print this out. I can't even spell. Goal. You print this out every night before you go to bed. Or what you can do is take a screen print and use a stylus or finger, whatever, on iPad or whatever it is. But what you do is you write down everything you want to accomplish that day, okay, or for the next day. And after the day is done, before you make the next one, before you go to bed, you score yourself and you take off points. And this is very subjective, but for me, I'll take off points if I didn't go to the gym, if I didn't spend time with my family, if I didn't get 10,000 steps, or I wrote 20,000, which means 10,000, which means 7,000. You know what I'm getting at. If I didn't pray, and this is just me, that comes first, right? So for me, I'll take off many more percent if I don't do that. Family, if I didn't put the customers first, if I browse the internet too much, I take points off, email too much, whatever, you know what I'm getting at. Then I write down here my body mass index. Did I wash my face twice? Because if I don't wash my face one time, it's freaking disaster. I'm not going there. Did I get 8 hours of sleep, which I try to do, which means 7.5, Did I plan my meals and eat properly? All that stuff. Did I go to all my meetings and whatever? And did I take that walk at 1 p.m. to crystallize my thought process and release serotonin and come up with cool ideas? So this is what I do. And these are just promotional stuff for me as well. I got to remember whatever. And this stuff here, I already made a lot of these courses. It's done, whatever. To-dos, that sort of thing. And I fill this out every night at 9 p.m. I have a more advanced version of this. And then what I do is, I fill it out every night for the next day. And then before I fill out the next ones, I always score myself down here in terms of percent. And I keep it by my sink, which is the first thing I see in the morning, whatever, and at night. And I've got this nice little plastic holder thing I got from Amazon. And I fill it in. And I have to write down my goals. I got to redo it every day. And it helps. I don't do it on weekends because it will drive you nuts, I promise you. But try that out. Again, go to harounventures.com/schedule. Schedule. Yeah. Hopefully that helps. Yeah. And that's just it's just goal setting. That's all it is. Baby steps. And if you have, if you have 10-year goals, it's easy to achieve them. I'm going to show you why. If you use my methodology daily, sorry about all the windows here, but if you have 10-year goals, so in 10 years, there's 3,650 days. So all that means is every day you have to get that much closer to your goals every day, your 10-year goals, which is completely doable. Yeah. Himanshu is saying that's too much pills, man. I think, yeah, a lot of them are herbs, though. They're not pills. Yeah, yeah. I think yoga could be much better with meditation. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And Christine's my wife's trying to get me to go to yoga now. I've been working insane hours. She's great. She's the best. She's the best. She's my shrink too. But I just don't have time to go to yoga and stuff. And so what I do is, you can't see it here, but I've got a little exercise bike below my desk here. I've also got one of those walking things, and this desk moves up and down. It's made by a company called Fully.com. I got an elliptical trainer in the garage. Yeah. So, but I always try to do a couple things at once. Otherwise, I just won't have time. Yeah. So when I exercise, I don't. I'm using my iPad or my laptop, and I'm creating content. Yeah. So that's what I do. All right. Next up is, I can vouch for the book. Only read like the first 2 or 3 pages, and it works. Yeah. Yeah. And then you're saying, bro, I love this live stream, though. First one I watch makes Chris seem so much more approachable. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. This is fun. This is fun. Yeah, we've come a long way. Like, if you look at the first webcast we had, dude, week number 1, like, I didn't know what the hell to say. Like, I joined these webcasts and I'd be like, I don't know if anyone's going to show up. So I'd have to have a lot of filler. So every week when I would do these webcasts, I'd always bring extra props on the side, and I still do it now, just in case there's no questions. And so it's filler, right? And so that's why this week I chose to talk about, there's always, people ask tons of questions way before it starts. There's no dearth or shortage of questions. But that's why I did this whole thing this week. So there's that. And another week I've got this special razor that heats up, and I have this special toothbrush as well that's connected to the internet. I'll show all that stuff another time. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. It's great to have you. Thanks. And then Conrad is saying, hey, Chris, what investment fund would you recommend at an early stage for a hardware-oriented AI startup? I gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. So when it comes to artificial intelligence and hardware, yeah. Whew. So I would say, before I answer this, just be careful from a hardware perspective. A lot of venture capitalists don't want to touch hardware because of inventory issues and low margins. A way around that, though, is to talk about how your AI-based startup, where you sell a hardware product, has a high-margin software platform that runs on top of the hardware. And so I was on the board of a bunch of companies in the past. One of them is a big storage company. Sequoia led the A, we led the B years ago. And this company that has a hardware product, I remember when they were articulating what the business model was to me initially, they said, it's just commoditized hardware, like Western Digital, Seagate products. But we have a secondary storage software platform running on top of it, which is a high margin product. And anyway, so make sure you articulate the fact that, although you mentioned hardware-oriented AI startup, be careful, dude. Like, make sure to talk about the software that's running on top of the hardware, because a lot of people say hardware and they get scared. That being said, so I'll tell you some investors that have done a lot in AI. Actually, I'll just tell you the big one. So there's Peter Thiel from Founders Fund. And so he was the first big investor in Palantir, which is the biggest employer now in Palo Alto, bigger than Facebook, yeah. In Palantir, they solve the biggest problems in the world with their software algorithm. They have 2 products. One's called Metropolis. The other one's called Gotham. Wonder where they got that from. And the Obama administration would not have found Osama bin Laden without using Palantir software. From an AI perspective, it's amazing. And I used to be an investor in it. I sold it recently because I'm out almost entirely from all venture capital investments. Yeah. But check out Peter Thiel's venture capital firm. It's called Founders Fund. And it's called Founders Fund because he believes in investing in founders. And I believe the same thing. He's amazing. He's incredible. So he's based here in San Francisco. in this old federal army land in the city called the Presidio. And that's where LucasArts is as well here, and a lot of other great companies. Beautiful offices. We almost put our office there, yeah. So I would check that out. Okay. I love it. Gregory is saying, Chris, home run for your baseball nerd. Oh, I love it. I love it. No one's ever called me that, please. Yeah. Home run. I love baseball, man. I love that sport to death. I love baseball movies. There's this romantic element about baseball that's just other sports don't have. It's Americana. I love it. Oh, Field of Dreams. Great movie, obviously, Kevin Costner. They're actually going to have a baseball game this summer between the Chicago White Sox and the New York Yankees at that park in Iowa. Actually, it's going to be right beside that park. 8,000 people will fit there. I can't wait to watch that. I love baseball movies more than I love baseball now. Yeah. And I loved sports so much more when I was a kid because I didn't realize it was a business, I don't know. When I was a kid, things were different. I feel like Bob Costas saying when it was a game. When I was younger, Tony Gwynn played for the same team his whole career. God bless him, he passed away. George Brett played for the Royals his whole career. It was different then, man. I don't know. But I do love the game a lot. Yeah. But I just don't have the patience anymore to sit through a game. Maybe it's me changing. Maybe it's society changing. It just seems like a slow sport. But I still love it. Yeah. Blue Jays. And I'll never forget when the Toronto Blue Jays when they won the World Series in 92 and 93. I remember teasing my American friends so much. I'm from Toronto because, we won the World Series. And my American buddies are always very witty. They would say to me, yeah, so what, Haroun? Your Americans beat our Americans. I was like, well, it's kind of true. Yeah. Okay. All right. Conrad is saying we created novel, energy efficient neural architecture and would like to make the next step with funding. Thanks. Yeah. So and I answered your earlier question too. I saw it. Sorry. Yeah, I would just make sure to talk a lot about the software platform as well. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Sounds exciting though. Yeah. Dude, I hate SIRI. I really can't stand it. For some, and I have ALEXA as well, and ALEXA never turns on, unless I want it to. But SIRI, every now and then, even if I don't say SIRI, it starts talking. It drives me nuts. I can't stand it. Yeah. Although I did change the voice of SIRI to an Australian, which sounds so much better because if you close your eyes and you hear an Australian speak, it sounds like they're smiling. Just happy. Yeah. Yeah. And you wrote, coffee just momentarily affects your blood pressure. Not to worry. That's true. It's true. Yeah, it does more good than bad. Yeah, it's an antioxidant too. Yeah. And I have, for those of you curious, I drink bulletproof coffee. It's out there. I've talked about it before, but if you take, for hundreds of years, people have been putting butter in their tea and coffee. And that's what I do. And it gives you this insane, Bradley Cooper-esque limitless movie ability to really focus and create content. It's great. Yeah. Do your research on it first off for your new bulletproof coffee because the serum you put in it called MCT oil can hurt your stomach if you don't do it in small quantities initially. Yeah.
Which phone number for Beth McTeague? Home or work?
It says this.
Which phone number for Beth McTeague? Home or work?
I don't even know who that person is. Fuck you, Siri. You know what I'm talking about? It's crazy. I didn't say SIRI anytime there. It just happens. And it's not just me. It's happening with a lot of other people as well. So, anyway. That was out there. What's kind of scary is that, everything is recorded. Like a lot of people won't use Alexa because they're worried that everything is being recorded. And I just said Alexa, and my device did not turn on because I didn't ask a question. Alexa, what time is it?
It's 10:30 a.m.
Amazing. Isn't that cool? It knew. But everything's being, whatever. Yeah. So I won't go there. Okay. Next up is Mad Cow saying, thank you so much for answering my question, Chris. Sadly, I got to go now. Young one's birthday. See you all later. Feel free to get in touch if you want. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Now I'm curious. You said your web address is madcow.com. I have to go there. I'm the guy that I can't just watch a movie on my couch. I have to have my iPad there and go to Wikipedia to research stuff. Yeah, it's just, I have to go to that website now. Mad Cow, you piqued my interest. So let's go there together. Let's go here to your website, Mad Cow. There you are. Welcome, Mad Cow. All right, cool. So you've got, is this a video game? Oh, dude, that's pretty cool. So you've got a, make sure we're still recording. Yeah. You've got a video game company or something. Here it is. Yeah, and the graphics, by the way, I've got, I keep it low here because I don't want to eat up bandwidth. So that's your game, huh? I remember that. The music's from the Wii. It says copyright here. Yeah. The Wii store. Or the Wii U store. Yeah. Interesting. So this is your game, Mad Cow? Now, dude, now I'm curious. Now, you got to tell me, are you a gamer? Or, you mentioned you left the call, too bad. But, or did you make this? It's interesting. About me. Now I got to go here. About us. Huh. The final latest information is page, but our company is constantly evolving. We provide wide range of services. Our mission is to provide the best solution for everyone that wants to. Okay. Cool. Now you got me really curious. About game. Gallery reviews down here. Contacts. Cool. Yeah. Now I'm curious. You got to let me know what you do now. I piqued my interest. I'm the most curious guy ever. All right. Here we go. All right. Next up is Federico, who's saying, hi from Italy. Hey, Federico, how are you? I've tried 2 companies but failed. And now consulting, as I have a family. I want to try more, but it starts becoming expensive. What do you advise? Yeah. So I'm completely with you. I was you. Same thing. And I respect you because you tried a couple startups and you're not giving up. So when it comes to a family, what I recommend doing is work for somebody else, do consulting, which you're doing now. So you have enough cash flow to come in to pay the bills. And then what I want you to do, Federico, is I want you to get other people to finance your startups. And you can find them. I want you to go to my website and read this book for free. Okay, go to harounventures.com, Haroun ventures.com. Read my networking book for free. Okay? I promise you it's going to help you find ways to get people to invest in your companies. And don't use your own money. Always use OPM. Not that kind of OPM, but hold on a second. Other people's money. And there are people out there that will invest in your companies. Read my book. It teaches you all the secrets on how to raise money. Or what you can do is just go to my YouTube vlog, do a search on raising money. Every year, the French embassy has HEC, a great MBA school from Paris, come here. And I always present to them every year. And so I presented to them 2 years ago, I think, on how to raise money. Check out that video. It's on my YouTube vlog. That'll help you out a lot. Also, what I want you to do is I want you to take my complete business plan course, and I'll show you where to get it. And it's a cliche, but failing to plan is planning to fail. And most people don't write a business plan. So let me go here. It's courses. Yeah, right here. Yeah. So go to my website and then just navigate through it and find the complete business plan course. And then what I want you to do is I want you to take my complete business plan course, and it's a cliche, but failing to plan is planning to fail. And most people don't write a business plan. So And this will help you in 9 hours write an amazing business plan. And for those of you that want to that want to start your own company, please write a business plan first. Most people don't do this. Most people don't. And it's one of the most important decisions you'll ever make in your life, from a professional perspective. And if you take my course and I convince you not to start a company, then I've saved you money and heartache. I've done my job. But if you take my course and it helps you start a successful company, I feel even better about myself. So take this course. It'll help you out tremendously. Tremendously, yeah. And you can go to the ratings here and see. Looks like somebody wrote this in a different language. That's cool. This course is so much fun. Let's look at a -1. Here we go. This course is good, but I feel the financial part could be better. Okay. If you're starting a business from scratch, the financial part doesn't help you much. I'll even look for other courses on Udemy to see if I can find the help I need. The Excel is good. However, I have a crappy computer. Okay. I'm sorry. All right. So anyway, I only read the negative reviews to you. So I think the finance part's really good. And my feelings are hurt. Actually, when you start doing online courses and stuff, you get a lot of feedback and you Teflon. Yeah. But I read mainly the negative reviews because it helps me. And for anybody that wants to make a course to compete with mine, please do. Because the consumer, the student wins if there's better quality out there. Before you do, go to my courses and do a search just for the 1-star, 2-star reviews and find out what the problems are with my courses so you can make a better version. All right. And Asamina is saying, I adore Oop, man. For me, it's so damn easy. Oopalakia. And Greg is saying small company like the Traders 8. No, I love the Traders 8. Somebody's got to make a great movie about that, man. Be amazing. And Avi Pro is saying, what do you need in tech? I might be able to help. And it would be an honor to help, Chris. Thank you. I appreciate that. And earlier on, I said we're looking to hire people eventually. Thank you. I appreciate it. So I'm still trying to understand exactly where the business model is going. Like, I don't really, like, we've done well and everything. It's fine. It's fun. But I kind of want to scale it to the extent that, like, I've done now, 500-600 hours of these calls, whatever it is, and other calls too with my MBA students. And I kind of want to, and everything is indexed, by the way. So every time you watch one of my webcasts, if you come back to it the next day or 2 days later, if you go to the description field, you'll see all the questions people asked are indexed. You can just click on them and save time. And so I want to find a way to use some sort of database so that you can come to my website and do a search for any question, and then boom, it'll take you exactly to that point in the time code within each YouTube video to answer the question right away. It'd be kind of fun to do that. So anyway, that's one thing I'm looking at. Another thing I'm looking at is I want to take my website to the next level, and I want to make it, more professional. It works fine now. And I've talked to some of the best design firms in the world. I'm just not, I haven't seen any website out there that I want to aspire to be. And I know that I'm not doing a good job, Avi Pro, explaining what I'm trying to do here. But I just want to create something that's fresh, new, different, exciting for the website. So anyway, that's what I'm thinking of right now. But yeah. And thank you, Avi Pro. Appreciate that. God bless you. Thanks. Okay. And then Andrew, Yumi Dupree. Andrew's from, he's the inverse of me. He's an American living in Canada. I'm a Canadian living in US and A. Andrew's saying present today, Chris. Oh, it's -6 today. Oh, dude, you're Celsius. So now you are Canadian. Okay. I miss Celsius. It's so easy because 0 means freezing, above 0, not freezing, right? Fahrenheit's just a mystery to me. Yeah. I'm sorry to hear it's -6 there in Toronto. But you know what, dude? Like, I was happier living in Canada growing up than I was. Obviously, I love my family. Things are great here. I was happier there than I am here in California. Because in Canada, people say, wouldn't it be great if I didn't live in a place where it didn't snow? it's not like that. Like you look forward to seasonal changes. It gets a little bit monotonous here sometimes. Like growing up in Canada, the winter, we didn't know any better. You went to Tim Hortons, played hockey outdoors on the road. And then spring would come and we're so excited. And a beautiful day. We savored every nice, beautiful day. Whereas here we kind of take it for granted. But I miss it. I miss the seasonal changes a lot. Yeah. Great to have you, Andrew. And then Nika is saying, hey there. I'm one of your Udemy students. Thank you, Nika. I emailed you with my Excel valuation question last week on Udemy website. Are you able to break it down on your webcast? How would you value love? Yeah. So we usually answer questions pretty fast on Udemy. If we didn't answer the question, let me know. I remember seeing your question, Nika, and I remember responding to a couple other things to you as well. If I missed something, let me know. And so for those of you not familiar with love, love is the ticker for Southwest Airlines. And Southwest Airlines, their headquarters is Love Field. In Texas. That's why their ticker is LUV, love. So when you're valuing airline companies, I've invested a lot in Southwest over the years and Delta, Continental, all these other stocks I could short when the cost to borrow wasn't high, at least. But what Southwest has done is brilliant. And so for those who are not familiar with Southwest, it's kind of like Ryanair in Europe, so to speak. It's a discount carrier here in America. It's only domestic for now. But they have a brilliant management team. And what the management team did was about 15 years ago, or a little bit more than that actually, when oil was like $30 a barrel, what Southwest management did was they hedged in oil for a decade or so that they could actually buy oil for only $30 a barrel. And then oil spiked to $150 in the super cycle right before the Beijing Olympics in the summer of 2008. And so what happened was times were tough for the airline industry, but what Southwest did was predatory and brilliant. They cut prices aggressively, which basically that in a crappy economy and high oil prices forced almost all the other major U.S. airlines, Continental, Delta, American Airlines, United, etc., into bankruptcy. Almost. So they've got a brilliant management team. A really good management team. Now, the way that I value companies is I usually look 5 to 10 years out, and I ignore cyclicality, but I look 5 to 10 years out, and I create a financial model, usually based primarily on the income statement, which I teach in my financial analyst course, and I go into way more detail in my MBA degree program. And what I do is I look for what I think earnings are going to be in 5 or 10 years. Then what I do is I apply the appropriate earnings multiple in 5 or 10 years. And the way I do it is I believe that valuing companies aligned with their earnings growth rate makes sense. For example, if a company is trading at 20 times earnings, it means it's growing at earnings at 20%. If a company is growing at 15 times earnings, it should trade at 15 times. And so what I do is I look 5 or 10 years out, and whatever the earnings growth is at that point is what I would value Southwest at, or any company on a PE basis. Then I would discount whatever target price that is into today's terms using a different cost of capital. Yeah. So that's how I would do it. That's what I look at. Now, Southwest is a little bit trickier, and cyclical companies are trickier as well because they deal with really vicious economic cycles. And a lot of times cyclical companies are not profitable at all during recessions. But if you look out longer term, much longer term, it's easier to ignore the cyclicality. So you can, instead of being a tourist in a stock or renting a stock, you can be a long-term owner. So that's how I think about it. Now, in terms of other valuation methodologies, you might also want to, and I hate to say this because I hate this, but you might have to look at DCF as well, because there might be a lot of debt with Southwest. I just don't know. Off-balance sheet leases as well. But I usually look at several different valuation methodologies so that when I come up with a target price, I can take an average of 3 different valuation methodologies so I can minimize the margin of error. One of your valuation methodologies can be way, way off. But if you do a blended approach, then that will minimize the margin of error. The bottom line for me, though, is that I always like looking at price to earnings because I do believe that earnings and cash flow converge longer term anyway. Yeah. And I like to keep it simple whenever I create financial models. All right. Next up, Solly is saying, I can help you with your website, Chris, as a part-timer. It'll be a lot of fun for me to work with your team. Thank you. And I appreciate it, Solly. And Solly, for those of you not familiar, he lives in Lithuania now. He has his own company. He's very successful. And he has a bunch of employees, and they do JavaScript and other coding and stuff. Thank you, Solly. I appreciate that. Thanks. And Aditya, it's been a while, is saying, hi, I'm your student learning your business plan tips to succeed course. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. And Asamina is saying, oh my goodness, upalakya is just a saying. It has no real meaning. So earlier on I asked, so Asamina is from Greece originally, and my wife is Greek. And with the kids growing up, we were watching videos the other day, and when the kids were lying down and they wanted to sit up, they held on with their little hands on my baby fingers, and we pull them up. We go, upalakya. I thought Christine made that up, and I asked her, what does that mean? She said, it's Greek for something. And so I asked Asamina, what does it mean? And Asamina is saying, oh my goodness, upalakya is just a saying. It has no real meaning. It is usually said when standing up, sitting down, or handing something fragile. I love it. Upalakya. Yeah. I'll mention that to my yaya, or Christine's mom. Yeah. And I was told by somebody, I gave a presentation recently at a big event, and I mentioned yaya for some reason. And somebody from Greece came up to me and said, your mother-in-law will really appreciate it if you don't just say yaya, but you say yaya. So now I know how to say yaya. Yeah. And by the way, for those of you that are married and you don't have kids, just know that the outlaws become the in-laws when you have kids. Oh, dude, I'd be lost though. Christine's mom, she's great. Yeah. We had no idea what we were doing. We had our kids. Yeah. I still don't know. Okay. And Nika is saying, Chris, just out of curiosity, do you happen to know what software do publicly traded companies use to do 10Q or 10Ks? The format of them is so good. Yeah. So I think they all use Microsoft Word. It's pretty simplistic. Yeah. And they just insert tables. But there's a great company. I got to show you. This is dope. All right. So there's this company. So you can we all know, you can go to sec.gov and we can go and get 10Q, which means quarterly report, and 10K, which means annual report on any company, right? So you click here, and here is the 10Q for Microsoft, the quarterly report. And the SEC actually, they just added this new feature, which is pretty cool, where you can actually go and get financial statements. Right? You click here. So here's the income statement for Microsoft. Okay, see here? And it's got this cool feature just on the newest reports where you can actually click on it and learn more about whatever that is. Now, I want to show you something even cooler though, because copying this stuff and putting it into Excel models is a pain in the ass. There's this great company that a lot of my buddies that work on Wall Street are using now. They love it. It's called BAMSEC. And you can get a free trial as well. So what you can do is you enter in whatever ticker it is, and it just pulls all the stuff here directly from the SEC website. Okay. But when you click on this, the 10Q, for example, what you can do is you can download this table. So you see this table here. This here is a financial statement for Microsoft. So you can click here on download, and then it pulls it directly into Excel, and it's perfect. Here it is. Isn't that great? And this is text formatted too. This is number format. That's not text. And then you click here for the source. So anyway, check that out if you get a chance. BAMSEC, you can all get a free trial to it as well if you want to. Pretty helpful. All righty. All right. Yeah, and speaking of charts, or pardon me, spreadsheets to go in there, I'm sure they use their own version. They have their own Excel spreadsheets that they put in there perfectly. You know what? Though? I want to research this. But the weird thing is, though, when people upload to SEC, there's special code in the background that looks really, really messy. And I'll show you what that means. There's different formats. So if we go back here to SEC, okay, right here. Let's go to, okay, here we go, yeah. So this is Microsoft. So if we go to here, documents, I always just click here, but you can get the HTML version as well, which means that they might have to upload it in HTML format. And here's the complete submission text file here. Here's what it looks like, and then it gets parsed automatically, I think by SEC. It looks like this. You see here? So it's like HTML. You got headers and footers and stuff, right? Yeah. There's got to be, actually, I think, you know what, dude? I think I'm wrong. I think there has to be some sort of software they use to throw all this crap in this format. It just looks like HTML. Let's do a search on that. What software used for sec.gov? Okay, Edgar. Let's see here. Oh. Edgar released 20. Maybe this is software. No, I think this is it. Look at this. Okay, so... Okay. So there's special formats that you have to create all that text for to go up on sec.gov. I stand corrected. So if you click here, this is text specs. Oops, we can't find that file. Upalakia. That's the same link there. Well, whatever, they have an issue on their website. But right here, it looks like there is a software product called Edgar. And they're on release 20.upgrade.1 here. And this is where I think you download the software product to be able to upload into that crazy text format I showed you a minute ago. Yeah. So anyway, hopefully that answers your question. But you got to check out you got to check out BAMSEC. It's pretty cool. I've got a question here from Carlos. And the question is, hi, Chris, networking career change question. I graduated with a bachelor's 1.5 years ago, and I've worked in an industry that I'm not passionate about, and I want to change careers into the economics research field. About 1 week ago, someone close to me who lives in the city I want to move to connected me via email with a research economist. How should I respond and go about establishing that connection? Also, which hard/soft skills do you believe are crucial to succeed in that industry? Yeah, thanks. So just understand that relationships are more important than product knowledge. And so when people show up to these networking meetings or any meetings in general, the biggest rookie mistake people make is they start talking business right away. You want to bond before business always. And I want you to connect with this person when you meet them for coffee. Okay. Just get to know them. They're not going to interview you. They're just kind of doing a favor for your buddy or family member to set that up. So just bond with them. And what you can do is before the meeting, go to their Twitter profile and see who they follow. If you do that, you'll understand what sports teams they like. You'll also understand, I don't know, what movies they like or people they follow, who they aspire to be or, look up to, whatever. You can always do that due diligence before meeting with somebody. Go to their Twitter profile. Never tell them that because, it sounds like when you go to the meeting, you're like, I was stalking you when I was preparing for this meeting and I learned that. Don't do that. But just, if they like baseball, it might come up in conversation. So you'll know exactly what to talk about. And I've overdone everything. There's one guy I interviewed with, and it was in the hedge fund industry years ago. I was a lot younger, and I wanted the job so badly. And the first interview I had with him, he mentioned that he's a New York Rangers hockey fan. And I was a little bit out of it at the time. It was back in 02 or 03, whatever. And I bought for my GameCube at that time a 2K Sports hockey game. And I played as the New York Rangers, and I learned the names of all the lineup, whatever. And you could use one-timers. It was cool. It was a great game back then. That's way, way out there. I know. It's crazy. But that's the length, that's the extent I would go to learn everything about somebody and be able to carry a conversation with them. So that's what I recommend. So just bond before business. Now, in terms of what soft skills or hard skills do you believe are crucial to succeed in that industry, I think analytical abilities. And I encourage you to please take my complete financial analyst course on Udemy, because the first couple hours of that course, I talk about high-level macroeconomic trends, how to navigate and interpret data from the World Bank, as well as the International Monetary Fund, etc. So that's what I would do. That's what I recommend. Also, you want to be really familiar with economic statistics that are released by the government, like unemployment statistics, non-farm payroll jobs. What does that stuff mean? So you want to be able to research that and really understand those statistics and how they move the market. And just for fun, what you can do is you can actually go online and watch a biography of Alan Greenspan and learn about him. And all these economists, find out what they studied before. Like Ben Bernanke, who was the Federal Reserve chairperson during the '08 crash. We're lucky that he actually did his PhD at Princeton when he was younger in depressionary economics. I think we're lucky that and you can maybe even mention that. That might be interesting to mention that in the interview. Whatever. Most people don't know that. But that's an acclaimed economist, right? So that's what I recommend. Also, understand the difference between the different roles in government. I'm assuming you're in America. It's the nature of your question, but I could be wrong. But just understand the difference between Treasury and the Federal Reserve and all that stuff. What is an FOMC meeting? And basically go to the Wall Street Journal and the Financial Times. Actually, we'll just do the Financial Times here, and I'll show you why. So Financial Times is like a global newspaper. It's like Wall Street Journal, but global. And oh my God. Wow, Morgan Stanley's buying E-Trade. Wow. Why would they do that? I guess I remember they bought Dean Witter back in 1998 and became Morgan Stanley Dean Witter to get in the retail brokerage business. Now wow, okay, it's interesting. Okay, I'll look into that later. Huh, okay. All right, I feel like I'm watching a Pixar movie and I'm saying squirrel. All right, so anyway, go through here, and anytime you see something like, for example, here, IMF, that's something to do with economics. So I want you to copy this headline. I'll show you why. Because if you click it here, it's going to say, hey, you got to pay us. You want to read. Copy it. Then you're going to go to new incognito window, and then what you'll do is you'll paste that, and then you can click here and read it for free. And the reason you can do it for free is because if the FT did not allow that, then search engines would not be able to index this stuff. So read up everything you can find on IMF and World Bank and just stay up to speed on all this stuff. And if it's not fascinating to you, then, and I say this with love my heart, you're in the wrong, you shouldn't be going to that business. That's what I recommend. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a great publication. Also, you can read The Economist if you want, which will bore me to tears. But read this as well if you want to, and actually go out and subscribe to The Economist, like the actual paper-based version. For example, here, it's so sad, man. Japan's GDP shrinks dramatically after tax rise and a typhoon and coronavirus as well. Yeah, it's crazy, dude. And make sure you understand what a yield curve is. And we were talking about this the other day, but if you go to yield curve Japan, basically yield curve is used to understand where interest rates are going to be. So here's the Japanese government yield curve here. Frightening. And this is what the market is predicting. So right now, interest rates in Japan are basically negative. Scary. And Japan's been trying to work on revitalizing their economy since the 90s. Early 90s, the Nikkei peaked, and it's been impossible. Scary. But understand what a yield curve is and all that stuff as well. And again, if that's not fascinating to you, then, and I say it again with love of my heart, then you might be in the wrong profession. Yeah, you have to enjoy it because it can be pretty damn dry. Yeah. And then you can even read up on Keynesian economics, John Maynard Keynes and Adam Smith and the Invisible Hand, and just understand that stuff high level as well. Yeah. Okay. All right. You're most welcome, Himanshu. And then solid. And we got to wrap this up in a couple of minutes. I really apologize. So if you guys are in my MBA degree program, we have for MBA students only office hours that will start at 11:15 a.m. today. And so I got to wrap up this call. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through these questions quickly, whatever's left. I probably won't get to all of them. And what you can do is, if you're an MBA in my MBA degree program, you can ask me them again during the MBA only office hours today at 11:15 to 1:15 p.m. And if I have a one-on-one with you after that, for the next couple hours after that, which I do one-on-ones, we can talk then. Or what you can do is, if you're not one of my MBA degree students, you can just copy your question and ask it again next week. But I'll go through this really fast. Thanks. All right. Sally is saying, although I was not feeling good, but managed to take the videos on YouTube. That's right. You just started vlogging. It's awesome. Today's video is about numbers. I don't mind if they are silly or real. I'm looking for creating content and getting the habit of it. I love it, dude. I love it. And you got the right attitude. You can't be perfect. Just get something out there and don't give a damn what anybody thinks. And I've checked out like 1 or 2 year videos. I did that during, I think, MBA office hours. Let me turn off my alarm here. But they're inspiring, dude. The one you did in the grocery store was cool. I like it. You be you. All right. Next up is Chris. How would you recommend dealing with workplace bullying, especially from people who work above you? I feel standing up to them could affect your ascendance in the company. I'm so sorry you're going through this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a video that I'm very proud of on workplace bullying. And let me just bring you guys over here so you can see it with me. Okay, hold on. All right, here we go. And I'm going to go to my website because I'm most proud of this video more than anyone I've ever made before. I was at Christine's parents' place in Florida, and what I did was I actually I vlogged when I was walking to the pool to see the kids bullying, and I'm going to show this to all of you, and we're going to do it screw it, let's do it, as Sir Richard Branson would say. We go here, and I'll make it. Here we go. Hold on, and I will crank this up, and hopefully you guys can hear this. Actually, what I'll do. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, this will be worth it. 1 second. Let's go here. Yeah, good. All right, let's do this. Let me make sure we're recording. Good. If you bully people at work, meaning if you're a corporate bully, then I want you to keep watching this. Otherwise, don't watch the rest of this vlog. It's going to be out there today. But for you, the corporate bully, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for being such a jerk. And by the way, you peaked in high school, and you're so insecure that you treat people poorly. I get it. You're really insecure. I understand. But you know what? In a bizarre way, and I think what you've done at work, treating people poorly, is disgusting. But I think in a bizarre way, I want to thank you, because you've motivated the people that you've treated poorly to quit and to join another company, or you've motivated them to start their own companies. You see, frustration in business can be a beautiful thing. And I say it with love in my heart, because if you're frustrated at work because you're being treated poorly, and I've been treated poorly many times before, then that forces you to get outside your comfort zone and get a better job, or better yet, start your own company. If I can be resourceful in any way, helping you start your own company, please let me know. Thank you. Not the bullies, just the people who are being bullied, like I was. Thank you. All right, give me 1 second to get this working. Yeah, so that's what I would say when it comes to bullying. Yeah. All right. Melody is saying, I love 007 games. My husband and I play that so much. It's awesome. That's right. Earlier I was talking about, that's right. What was I talking about again? That's right. I was talking about that GoldenEye game I used to play with my buddies up in my parents' cottage. Yeah. All right, cool. All right, guys. So I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to wrap it up now because I get ready for the next call. But if you're an MBA student of mine, you can join me at 11:15 a.m. on that call today. If not, then please copy your questions and ask me all next week. We do this call every Wednesday or every Thursday forever, starting at 8 a.m. until 11 a.m. If you subscribe to my vlog, I will see you tomorrow on my vlog, I guess. Otherwise, God bless you all and have a great weekend. And I will see you next week at 8 a.m. and every week at every Thursday at 8 a.m. Thank you. Take care.